This is Star Radio. Broadcasting worldwide. This is Star Radio. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7. This is Star Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7. On your smartphone. This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio. On your smartphone. This is Star Radio UK.
Ìdí táwọn àgbàgbà yìí tó kọ́ fílẹ̀ sódòdó. Ó ti sọ́wọ́ àjẹgẹ́ wá jọba. Ìrọ̀ láwọn àgbàgbà ìdánijọ́ rí. Wọ́n máa ṣe òye kan. Wọ́n máa ń pè lọ́wọ́. Àwọn máa ní ẹnu lọ́wọ́ láwùjọ.
This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio. This is Star Radio UK. ìbàjẹ́ òye. Ọbẹ̀ orí àrùkọ Yorùbá ò máa fọwọ́ rọ́ọ̀rì kú mọ́. Ẹ̀bá ọ̀nà lọ́mọ kékeré kú sí kiri.
On your smartphone.
Òun lọ́kọ̀ lè lóko nílẹ̀ Yorùbá mọ́. Ìjókíjó lọ́dọ́ ló wọ̀n yìí wá ń sáré kiri.
Ṣebí.
Ọmọ Yorùbá ẹ̀jẹ̀ ká lélẹ̀. Bájúmọ̀ á padà sílé bàbá ẹ̀ nìyí.
On your smartphone.
Ṣebí.
Ewúrẹ́ yóò ló ṣọmọ ya kùtàn. Àgùntàn lórí mọ́mọ́ mi omi dúdú ẹ̀.
Ṣebí.
Ṣebí lásọdún tẹ̀síwájú nínú ìrírí ayé.
Ṣebí.
Ìdẹ̀ra ló ń fojoojúmọ́ béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn. Ṣùgbọ́n òmìnira ló ń fojoojúmọ́ fún wa mọ́. This is Star Radio UK. All around the world.
Ó ṣe
Àsìkò ti tó, ilé tó lọ, òmìnira láfẹ́. Ó ṣe àsìkò ti tó, ilé tó lọ, òmìnira láfẹ́. This is Star Radio UK.
Senate President of Nigeria is coming to forces plan. Deputy Speaker is Fulani. The Army Chief of Staff is Fulani. Navy Chief of Fulani. Police IG Fulani. DSS is Fulani. National Intelligence Agency Fulani. National Security Advisor is coming to forces. John Jawidi, why do you hate your people? I want to prove to all your slaves that the hatred today in DC was brought about by Fulani Janjaweed. Is it very clear to you now how they go? Is it very clear? Listen to the minister. Listen to friends, Fulani. Listen to finance, Fulani. Somebody that's studying and sharing law is the parent of the politicians. Is it very clear to you now? This is what's going on. Federal County Territory, Fulani. Agriculture, Fulani. Police affairs, Fulani. Aviation.
Màá pè yín lórí the other line. Ẹ má disturb ilé. Màá pè yín lórí the other line. From the wall goal is to dominate, subjugate every one of us.
Where's the president from? Fulani. Chief of Staff, Fulani.
This is Star Radio UK.
Senate President of Nigeria is coming to forces Fulani. Deputy Speaker is Fulani. The Army Chief of Staff is Fulani.
Èmi ò gbọ́dọ̀ fáráyé, èmi ò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o, orí ìra orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Gbogbo fáráyé. Ohun tí mo fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ o.
This is Star Radio UK.
Hey! Adìẹ, máa fẹ́ dáadáa lọ́nà. Ọmọ Olúwa dìde, bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ bàbá rẹ̀. Èmi yóò sọ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè. Ohun tí a fẹ́ la fẹ́. Kò faraye, èmi yóò gbọ́ nípa orílẹ̀-èdè mi. Yes, so. Omi fòmìnira fòrílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. I'm gonna switch it, man. Bear with us. I'm gonna switch it so that I didn't any disturbance during the program. Very, very important program tonight. And we also have a guest that is joining us all the way from Lagos. So, why did it disturb you, everybody? I'm not going to disturb you. Thank you so much. I'm disconnected. Thank you so much, everyone that have joined so far. We're just kicking start. Hey,
This is so real. This is so real.
Larry Lamino, I sight you, my brother. Yes, sir. Are we all ready tonight? Are you ready with me? Are you ready with me? Why do you hate the Igbo people? Are you ready for tonight's lecture? Why do you hate Igbo people? Was brought about by Fulani gentlemen. Is it very clear to you now how they go? Is it very clear? Listen to the minister. Minister of Defense, Fulani. Minister of Finance, Fulani. Somebody that studied the Sharia law is the head of the judicial system. Fulani. Is it very clear to you now how they go? This is what story for me. Federal Capital Territory, Fulani. Agriculture, Fulani. Minister of Affairs, Fulani. Aviation of Fulani. Communication of Fulani. Power, Fulani.
This is so real.
All the 19 northern governors are Fulani except the Benue Plateau Banco. Every northern airfield apart from 4, the rest are all Fulani. Is it very clear to you now? This is Allah Baba. Thank you so much. Welcome to the program. 100% ready as usual. This is the freedom that we tell a lot of you that you don't understand. But don't really woo. Any radio station in Nigeria, they will lock it down completely. That tells you that you don't have freedom in Nigeria. DSS is National Intelligence Agency, National Security Advisor is Cabinet of Forces, Minister of Defense, Minister of Finance. Is it very clear to you now? This is Wological Republic. Federal Capital Territory, Agriculture,
This is so real.
Yoruba nation,
Radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7. All around the world.
Make sure you subscribe to the Star Radio UK Twitter handle. Very, very important.
This is Star Radio UK.
Make sure you subscribe to the Twitter. And to any Twitter, go and get the Twitter. We've told you so many times.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Song. This is the Kingmaker.
Yes, so it's the Kingmaker. The Star Radio don't go nowhere. London. They call them London.
Let's have fun and stay blessed.
10, 9,
Wow. And a very good evening and welcome to the program. It is called Niger Voices on Star Radio UK. Shout out to my producer, Mr. Frank David and Mr. Archie Armand. Tonight is going to be fantastic. 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari. We are going to score him here tonight. Do you still think that the APC performance throughout the 8 years? Make sure you keep that comment coming quickly. Shout out to all our viewers from around the world and those that have connected with the broadcast from the sister broadcast as well. This is the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And we said,
This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
if you're just passing by, please sit back. I'm sure 2.5 hours, we can deliberate the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari. There's going to be a new government in place coming up in the next couple of days, but I want to review again the government of President Muhammadu Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo. 8 years. How has Nigerians been dealt with in the last 8 years?
Star Radio UK.
To all the sound engineer and those of you that have joined us, this is Star Radio UK. It is the African and Caribbean radio station in London, and we call it London. Well, I mean, it was beautiful out there at the Westminster today. For those of you that did follow the Star Radio UK during the morning show, I was there just before the band says 11 o'clock, 11 o'clock. But it is now just coming up to 5 minutes past 1800 hours. Don't get confused. When I say 1800 hours, it literally means 6 p.m. Tomorrow is the property hour, but tonight is all about Niger Voices. I say shout out to those of you that have joined us and settled down. My name is Ola Yomikoiki, and this is Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Remember to follow us on Twitter. That is where the battle is. That is where Nigerians are complaining. Buhari actually shut down the Twitter because of the Biafra conversation, the dot. What does it mean? All this is going to be discussion tonight. But for now, let's sit back before we kickstart the program. Shout out to Dr. Sunday Adeyemo Igbowo all the way in London. Boom, 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 boom. And this is for you, Chief Sunday Igbowo. From here we say,
This is Star Radio UK.
all around the world. In your car, at work, at home, on your smartphone.
and you in Benin Republic to Emeritus Adebanji Akintoye. This is
Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
these two individuals, and a shout out to Chief Ahiloge.
This is Star Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it on?
Are you ready to turn it on? Make sure you turn it on. And to all the Star Radio presenter, both in and out of the country, and those operating from UK, I say a very good evening it is going to be very, very loud tonight. But one thing is, if you're joining me for the first time and you're wondering, what's going on here, this is a program that has been running for the last 5 years. We've been discussing issues affecting Nigerians and the diaspora. Most importantly, we've done a lot of program here. We've talked about so many things. But tonight, my focus is going to be on the government of President Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari came in 2015 with a big hope to so many Nigerians. But it seems that the hope has been faded. Buhari told Nigerians that I would do Nigeria just as I've done Nigeria in the 80s. And as he's going away from the power, before the president-elect Bola Tinubu will be coming in, Buhari actually destroyed Nigeria more than they expected. Even a lot of Nigerians are saying, just please, can you take us back? Imagine Nigerians are now begging the president to return them back to what it used to be in 2015. Keep the comment coming through. We're talking about the price of food in Nigeria, as many Nigerians cannot eat 3 square meals. And the question is, what should we score Buhari government and Yemi Osinbajo? What should we be scoring them tonight? Because as a lot of Nigerians have Japa, there's also another Nigerian young boy that came to London only in September, and he has created more problem for Nigerians because of some of the interview, or not some, but the interview he granted to BBC in London. I'm sure some of you have saw the video circulating on the social media. We'll come back to that later. Maybe you've never been to this platform and you're wondering, where are we? This is
Radio UK.
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
I welcome you once again. Omoshebi, Kolawole, Omoshebi. This is for you, Mr. Omoshebi, and all your team that are working tirelessly back in Nigeria.
This is Star Radio UK.
are you ready to turn it up? In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
And that is for you. One more time for Omoshebi Kolawole.
Welcome.
I say again,
Welcome.
for those of you on the YouTube, I say,
Welcome.
for those of you Sahid Karemu, I say,
Welcome.
if you're listening to me in any African country, I say,
Welcome.
and let's come back into the conversation. It's going to be very hot in here. When Buhari came in 2015, I remember a lot of Nigerians trooped down to Old Kent Road. There was a lot of rallies. There was a lot of debate. Buhari was here at Chatham House just before 2015. And he kept on saying to the diaspora that we will be able to return back home. Economy will be good. There will be security. Corruption will be dealt with. But Buhari is now going out of office in the next 5 days. And the question I'm asking Nigerians today is, what has been your own score mark? Let's grade it by the West African Examination Council. If you're not from Africa, you probably not understand, what it means to write the WAEC. I mean, I wrote mine in 1995, and I still have my result. And I believe when I compare my result with this government in the last 8 years, I mean, as a young student leaving secondary school, I think my performance in my school start is much more better than the professor, Yemi Osinbajo. We thought that these individuals were bringing better governance. They were bringing security. Oh, how many of you remember Tolulokwe Arutile? Okay, there is a lot to discuss tonight. But all this is happening right here in the studio.
This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
all around the world.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Shout out to those of you that have joined us. A good evening to you. My grandmother, Comfort Adelaide, already says 0. Let's start with it small by small now. I read the report of the BBC, giving us a bit of the background that I'm going to bring up in the next few minutes. We couldn't have done this program without the support of my producer and the engineer, the sound team. There's a lot of people that are working behind the scene that sometimes you will probably never see. And this is the beauty of the technology. You know, the technology allows you to see me right now. And that literally means that, you know, we can discuss, we can review. Buhari came to power. And I'm going back now to, you know, the BBC article that came out 4 days ago. We'll be connecting to Lagos State later on in the course of this program where I have a guest, but we will connect to the guest, you know, later on in just about, you know, less than an hour. My name is Olayomi Koiki, and as you all know, I am also a staunch full member, not a member of the APC, not a member of the PDP, not a member of the Labour Party, not a member of the AAC, but a staunch supporter and a full member of the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba self-determination struggle. I do not believe that Nigeria is worth saving anymore. I believe as an individual, as my Olayomi Koiki, that the Yoruba people, the indigenous people must be given the opportunity right now to determine whether they still want to be part of Nigeria or not. Just the same way the UK citizens were allowed to decide whether they want to be part of the European Union or not. Under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye, I am the #1 supporter, the #1 staunch man that will end that country, Nigeria, by educating as many Nigerians so that they can understand that even though a Yoruba man is going to be the president for the next 8 years, that is not going to change as much of the expectation. We will be talking about the Yoruba nation struggle later on, just around 7:30. So you don't want to go anywhere, and be rest assured that will be in full Yoruba language. But for now, for the benefit of our listeners in Zimbabwe, in Jamaica, in the Costa Rica, in Cuba, in Brazil, in Australia, we will be presenting this first program in English. Once again, some of people that are not comfortable with our message, I say to you, this is why it is different to live in a society that allows you with the freedom of expression. I remember a lot happened during this government, but one thing we will remember Buhari for is corruption, security, and the economy. I want to discuss on those three. And one thing we can say is Buhari came with a lot of expectation, and those expectations started fading away from so many Nigerians as quickly as possible because Nigerians now realize that this government is a failure. And it has not just failed, it has actually left Nigerians in a situation where, as at almost less than 2 or 3 years now, the UK has brought in more than 127,000 Nigerians that have run away, not just because of anything, because the education system in Nigeria has not been done properly. There's a lot that Buhari did to Nigerians, and it seems that Nigerians have probably forgotten about that because I'm talking about the new president-elect, Bola Tinubu. How Tinubu is going to manage the current situation that his previous predecessors, I'm talking about the previous government, because Buhari, we know, could not get to the power until Tinubu merged with CPC, and that literally formed what we call the APC today. Once again, my name is Olayomi Koiki, and welcome to those of you that have joined us from all the platforms. Good evening to you, Idowu Eniafe Ayo Ore Kingsley. Good evening to you. We will come back to the young Yoruba boy that granted an interview that has now become a backlash. We will be discussing that later. But let's start with the BBC report that came out some few days ago. And the headline says everything that I'm going to be discussing in the next couple of days. I mean, in the next couple of hours, rather. What we're about to discuss is no longer in news, but is about the reflection. Because when Buhari came to power, he promised everything, but he's saying that, please, Nigerians, forgive me. Was Buhari government one of the most corrupt that we've ever had in the last 23 years of democracy? Nigerians must now be prepared for the outcome that Tinubu would have to pay a lot. I don't know how Tinubu is going to raise the fund. But what we know is Tinubu would have to borrow a lot of money to be able to run the government. Nigerians are very difficult people. And the reason why I said so is Nigerians believe in so much miracles. And these miracles literally mean that so many people have just left everything to God. God is going to deal with Buhari. God is going to deal with the politicians. But these same politicians continue to leave you in a state that some of us have become a little bit concerned. Let's go through this article. If you're not from Nigeria, you're probably from East Africa or you're from West Africa, and you're wondering, why is Nigeria where it is? You might probably have seen the Dangote refinery. That is not going to bring any impact to Nigeria, and that is going to be part of a discussion that we're going to have with our guests later. But for now, let's first look into Nigeria. Muhammadu Buhari leaves the legacy of kidnapping, inflation, and debt. How many kidnapping can you remember? How many kidnapping can you recollect? How many of the Nigerians, whether in the Southwest, in the Southeast, in the Middle Belt, how many Nigerians can you remember were kidnapped and were not able to survive? What is the case study that we will review when Buhari finally leaves on the 29th, subject to no interruption? Nigerians have been crying. Nigerians have been shouting. We saw the NSAS. Buhari literally told the military to go inside the Lekki toll gate and massacre as many Nigerians, and some have now become exiled. DJ Switch cannot return to Nigeria. My question again is, why are Nigerians still believing that there will be a new Nigeria? We saw the play out of the election. We saw how the election was manipulated. That is a different conversation entirely. We'll come back to that later. But one thing I want to remind us is Nigerians are determined people. If you're given the opportunity to leave Nigeria and travel to Togo, you will flourish. If you leave Nigerians to travel to Kenya, you will become a celebrity. When you even then have the opportunity to travel to Europe, you will be competing with the best. But for those in Nigeria, it is all about the backwardness. What is BBC saying on inflation? The debt. Nigerian debt today is rising, and it has risen so fast that some of you will lose the value of your naira, which is going to be part of the discussion later on as well with my guest when I bring him in later in the course of the program. The naira is becoming like a tissue paper. It has no value anymore. So those of you that still have huge amount of naira in your bank account, let's say you have 5 million naira. That 5 million naira will become 3 million naira before the end of this year. That is how bad the inflation in Nigeria is as we speak right now. If you're joining us for the first time, I say,
Welcome.
This is Star Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide online.
shout out to those of you that have joined us so far. Our grandmother, Comfort Adeleye, say, he only came to deceive us more than expected. Kudos to him and his APC. Good evening to you, Adewusi Owolabi. It is now 23 minutes past 1800 hours, which literally means 6 p.m. or 6:30, if that's the way you understand the 12 hours clock. But in UK, we tend to use the 24 hours clock. So let me quickly read this. Then I'm going to be bringing my guest in as quickly as possible because there's a lot to discuss tonight. When President Muhammadu Buhari steps down next week, because if you look at today's date, today is the 24th, so we have 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. Buhari has 5 more days to operate as a president. But do you know that President Muhammadu Buhari refused to dissolve the cabinet? So I'm trying to figure out what is wrong with these individuals that they think that the power belongs to them, even though the power belongs to the creator, the Eledumare, depending on what religion you are following. My concern is more Nigerians, according to this article, are no longer secure. And if you're relying on the military to secure you, or the police, or the civil service, all the security architect in Nigeria, they are all compromised. I didn't say that. T.Y. Danjuma, a former chief of defense staff, told us categorically that if anyone rely on the military for any kind of security protection, whether in your church, in your mosque, in the market, you are all failure. The late Malafia Obadia told us categorically that the situation that we have in Nigeria today, that all the terrorists moving around, is because some of the governors in the northern part of Nigeria are part of this terrorism in Nigeria. So the question to Nigerians is, what about the debt? More Nigerians do not have jobs, according to KPMG. And the jobs are not even guaranteed up to the end of this year. So if we now ask the question, what is going to be your pass mark for the APC government? Buhari was a former military ruler that came in and deceived Nigerians with Agbada, which is the Yoruba traditional outfit, because the Yoruba owns Agbada. It was Tinubu that brought Buhari and decided to give him, Agbada and the Yoruba outfit, and told Nigerians, especially those in the Southwest, that let us vote for Buhari because Buhari is a game changer. Jonathan accepted defeat, even though Peter Obi and Atiku is not yet accepting the defeat today. There was a lot of wave of optimism that the change was possible. Change. I remember the mantra change in London when Buhari was campaigning, because I was there as a media to cover some of those activities. And today, I would like to have an interview with some of you that moved around during the campaign in the UK for Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo. What is your take after 8 years? It was supported by a powerful coalition. Buhari could not become the president of Nigeria. Do you know why? I'm coming back.
This is Star Radio UK.
All around the world.
The best radio show. The best radio show.
A lot of people were shouting, change, 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 change. And sometimes you wonder whether it is somebody getting onto the public transport in Nigeria And the process is where you go into the public sector. Good evening to my beautiful mother. Good evening to all the mothers and the fathers that have joined us and everyone that have joined us from around the world. And once again, this is
Star Radio.
A lot of Nigerians had huge expectation because the world change was the mantra of the APC in 2015. After the 4 years, nobody saw the change because we couldn't get the change. But they actually came back with another, slogan. And that slogan was different. Abiola says also there was nepotism. Daniel Oyede, good evening. Triple ADR, good evening. Nuruddin Ajani, good evening to you. Buhari is a devil. Is coming from Abiodun. Buhari is a devil. Wow. Buhari, after the first 4 years, knew that Nigerians were very, very upset with his government. Knew Nigerians wanted to vote maybe the PDP. Knew Nigerians were going to decide. But Buhari said, no, we will take you to the next level. And some of us thought, hold on, you came with change for 4 years. We never saw the change. All we saw was bloodshed, the nepotism, the genocide, the killings, the economy was becoming strained. The dollar today is now almost $800. The pound sterling is about 940. So the expectation was, Nigerians were going to decide by removing President Muhammadu Buhari and probably try somebody else. But no, Buhari and the APC told us, next level. How many people remember that slogan? Next level. And the next level slogan went out and went on and went on. Good evening to you, my mother, my big auntie, Beauty _Amokwe. Shout out to those of you watching us in Lagos, in Port Harcourt, in Benue. Shout out to those of you in Plateau. We are very, very concerned. We are following all the crime that Buhari has committed and all the chief of army staff, the security, each and every one of them must be paying a big price for the genocide going on, mostly in Plateau State, and the atrocity across different parts of Nigeria. And like somebody say, Buhari is the devil. After Buhari's brief stint in the 80s, a lot of Nigerians do not understand the damage Buhari did while he overthrown. The first thing is, and do you know that President Muhammadu Buhari, when he was in military, was trained here in UK? I don't know whether part of the training, was core value. How many of you remember, the core value? The core value to allow the military to overthrow a democratic government. That was what Buhari did, even though he served as a military. Do you know that more than 100,000 Nigerians have been killed since Buhari came to power? That is official. The non-official will probably be about over 300,000 because there's so many people that got killed in the village, in the bushes, so many kidnapping that happened and doesn't get recorded. But the official that we have been told is about almost 100,000 Nigerians. My question is, as Buhari is going, how are you going to remember him? What is going to be your own take? I'm going to remember President Buhari as one of the most, I'm going to remember him as someone that hated humanity. Because if you hate humanity, you can tell from the face, because each time you look into Buhari's face, you can see that this is somebody that cares less about humanity. And you can disagree with me. That is why it is called
Star Radio UK.
But one thing I want to remind you is the dot in the cycle, or in the circle, that Buhari actually ignited to remind the Biafra that, do you know what happened during the 1967 Civil War? That we dealt with you. Even though we know that Buhari had the opportunity with some of his military generals, Gowon and the rest of them, by the backup of, or the backing of the British government during the Civil War. I am not sure that the British in 2023, we'll be very, very careful because we are no longer in 1967. Once again, triple DRSA is the most useless and the selfish ever known. Keep the comment coming. Also, Kingsley say over 1 million Nigerians were killed under Boko Haram. Wow. So that means even the figure that we are giving, that Buhari, 100,000 people died. Okay, maybe by the time we add, do you know how many Nigerians are in abject poverty today? There is about 74 million Nigerians that cannot have 3 square meals as I speak to you today, the 24th, on May 23rd at exactly 6:33 p.m. on
Star Radio UK.
I repeat, 74 million, not thousand. 74 million Nigerians are living in abject poverty. Do you know that when I say Buhari hates humanity, 8 months Nigerians were out of school last year? Let's come back again. That when Buhari came to power in 1980, which he actually overthrown, it was a military coup. They are very good at that. There are so many things that we can put into Buhari because it seems that Buhari wants to Islamize Nigeria. And the evidence is right there. But the media in Nigeria are so corrupt, so biased, that they refuse to tell Nigerians that this President Muhammadu Buhari agenda was to come and complete what he could not finish in the 80s, to try to Islamize Nigeria. Buhari opened the door for what we called the jihadis. Everyone was coming into the country and we could not identify, we could not say, this is this person, why are you in Nigeria? After Buhari's brief stint in charge in the 80s, his second coming was on the back of promises to curtail the rampaging Islamic insurgency in the Northeast and to tackle the widespread corruption. But do you know that as Buhari is leaving the government today, well, in the next 5 days, there are more corrupt people in Nigeria, especially within the cabal that Buhari has protected. Do you know that nobody has been charged under the EFCC apart from those that are not doing anything wrong, or should we say, maybe a little bit, because every crime must be condoned. But we are seeing images of young Nigerians being proved by the EFCC, but the criminals like FFK, the Okorocha, and all the governors, nobody is paraded in front of the camera. How many people remember Minor, the pension that went missing under the nose of Buhari? Minor actually ran to Niger Republic because he believed that he would get a kind of a leverage. Today, nobody's hearing about Minor. Let me come into the security. Where is Abba Kyari?
Welcome.
In your car,
At work.
at home. This is
On your
Star
smartphone.
Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
Once again, my name is Olami Koike. We're going to be bringing the guest in just about a few more minutes. Keep the comment coming. Olua says, she say, I will remember him as someone who expect much from, but had beat the problem on belief. I expect him to look into the system of government. Good evening to you, our mother, Esther. Keep the comment coming. Now that Nigerians are probably now a little bit excited, Nigerians keep forgetting everything quickly. Jonathan, we forgot, Buhari, I'm sure in the next couple of days now, we will probably not even remember, say Baba. Nobody's going to, now it's going to be, Emi Lokon, Baba Emi Lokon. Once again, a very good evening and welcome to the program as we continue the live transmission. Star Radio UK, it is the finest African. Please do not interrupt. We're not taking any calls at the present time right now. We will take calls, but bear with us. in just about a few minutes when we're going to be bringing in my guest. And then from there, we would allow you to start calling, because we did promise that today is going to be all about you. And then you would also have your own input. But let's first get our guest in, and that way, we can start reviewing. Some of your calls will be coming through as well. The number to call will be the studio number that a lot of you know. I'm going to be giving that out in just about a few minutes. But as we say all the time, this is the Star Radio UK Niger Voices on a Wednesday, where we are reviewing and discussing the issues surrounding the APC of President Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari, like I said, came in, with a lot of expectation, but this expectation is not going according to plan. There have been gains in tackling the Boko Haram. I don't think so. There are other extremist groups in the Northeast that is aided by improved military hardware from the US, while the group still carried out attacks. And we're talking about a lot of attacks. A lot of these attacks is still going on as I speak to you today. And the question is, what more can be done to save Nigerians from the havoc of the APC? As the government of President Muhammadu Buhari is winding down, there's now focus on the new government that is coming through as well. But the new government will have a lot, to discuss, or a lot to review. And the reason why I said so is, when we look at the Chinese loan that Buhari has taken from China, that is an huge amount of money. Let's start taking the calls while we're still waiting for my guest, to connect with us. It might be network issue. Let us also remind ourselves that it is not about us. It is about you to decide the future that you want. The nepotism in the government will be remembered for a very, very long time. And we're going to kickstart with this while then we open the phone line officially. Let's go with this.
Is flying. Their urbanization first agenda is now flying. Totally complete they have that. Where is the president from? Fulani. Chief of staff, Fulani.
This is Star Radio UK.
Senate president of Nigeria is now Fulani.
The nepotism in this government will be remembered for a very, very long time.
Chief of Fulani. Police IG, Fulani. DSS is Fulani. National Intelligence Agency, Fulani. National Security Advisor is Cameroon of Forces. Why do you hate it, people? I want to prove to all your Filipinos that the hatred today in DC was brought about by Fulani Janjaweed. Is it very clear to you now?
Star Radio
Listen to the question.
Once again, this is still Star Radio UK.
This is Star Radio.
Somebody that studied the Sharia law is the head of the judicial system. Fulani. Is it very clear to you now? This is what
Let's go straight with the first caller all the way in Nigeria. And I say good evening and welcome to Star Radio UK. Hello, good evening.
How are you doing?
Well, we are doing very well and welcome to the live transmission. Ekabo Soreto, welcome and let us hear from you. President Muhammadu Buhari, 8 years in office. What would you like to say to all our listeners from around the world?
I would rather want to tell them that Nigeria has absolutely got no benefit in 8 years, sir.
Okay.
Because Nigeria has been borrowing money, and then using it for nothing. Then what benefit is it to loan money and don't use it judiciously? So that's one.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That's our first caller. All the way in Nigeria is a mother, a grandmother, and if they are calling from Nigeria, then you know that we know what they're saying. We have my guests that have joined us, right now, and there's a lot we're going to be reviewing. We're going to be looking into more of, the economy, the naira, because since we are discussing the 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari is in office, your call will also be coming through. If you're looking to call into the studio, the number that you need to put down the pen. And when you call it, we'll let your call come through. Is +44 74 04 405917. If you want to speak in Yoruba, don't hesitate to call. I will permit that. In as much as I know, a lot of you might think maybe if I call in now, I might be speaking English, and I don't want to speak English and go and mess myself up. This is is a family, African and Caribbean radio station in London. So even if you call in and you probably make some mistake, we're not going to take that on you. But we now go straight to Nigeria, where we have our guest as well. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, a very good evening and welcome to the live transmission on what we call the
Star Radio UK.
Good evening to you. For the benefit of our listeners, maybe you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we can go into the conversation tonight with myself and you, reviewing the situation with the current Nigeria. And like I said earlier, we might end up losing as many naira in our bank account if care is not taken. Like I said, if you're calling in, you're only calling the studio number. Please do not call any other number. Go ahead and let's hear from you.
Thank you very much, Koiki. My name is Adeyemo Adeshino. I'm popularly known as Bishop because I'm a clergy, and I am an investor. I have investment in many financial institutions, and both outside Nigeria and in Nigeria. And I am the CEO of RBE Venture Bank, operating Ruba currency, among others. That's what I can say for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And when it comes to currency, a lot of people, I was actually showing the 10 pounds, during a live transmission I was doing on the train, making my way into the studio. Let's first discuss how damaged is the economy of Nigeria. And if the economy of Nigeria is damaged, the only thing we can link it to is the dollar, the naira, because those are the two. I mean, Nigerians do not operate with pound sterling, so Nigerians tend to use more of dollar and naira. Let's start from that, and then we can link it into, why Nigerians, especially those that do not believe in Nigeria, we're talking about the Yoruba now, probably should start thinking about saving that little naira that they have. If otherwise, it might come out as Uganda. Was it Uganda, Idi Amin, that they asked the central bank, just keep printing money? And we know that when you print money, then the money becomes as useless as tissue paper. Go ahead, we'll probably stick to you as Bishop Additional for the benefit of the listeners around the world. Go ahead and let's hear from you.
Thank you very much. I want to say that the damage done on cannot be write off or outrun within, let me say, 20 years. Within 20 years, the damage done, Naira cannot rise up. If you have the best economy handling the central bank, the Apex Bank of Nigeria, the best economy, the damage done on Naira cannot be totally resolved within 20 years. It will take 20 years more. That if there is consistent efforts and will to outrun the damage. Now, currency of a country is the economic power of that country. Now, Naira is economic tools because Naira is a currency. So a currency is an economic tool, one of the economic tools of a country or a government. Now, if the Naira, which is economic tool of Nigeria, is now being used as a slavery equipment, the equipment of slavery against the citizen itself. You can see the damage the Naira have done for, let me start from the 8 years of Buhari, not to talk of many years before now. Now, it's not even the factor of the country borrowing money, but the unwillingness of the people in the Apex Bank or the affairs of the economy to rewrite the wrong. And when you look at the time Soludo was CBN governor of Nigeria, Soludo came with an innocent mind, submit a very fantastic to Obasanjo. Obasanjo was the president at that time, and Obasanjo approved it. And Soludo have a meeting with all the CEO of the commercial banks in Nigeria, showing the proposal to them, and let us build our economy strong, because our economy is our home. Big CEOs buy into Soludo's proposal and plan. These CEO bank of the commercial banks of Nigeria willingly merge with each other. Nobody was forcing them. They merge with each other, settled all the paperwork among them, the hierarchies among them. They merge with each other.
1 minute, Bishop. 1 minute, Bishop, because we're going to be taking calls in between. I do apologize. Hello, caller.
All right.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, that person is not aware that we're live. So go ahead. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Bishop.
All right. Now, those CEOs, those banks, commercial banks, merge with each other willingly and form a very strong and formidable commercial banks for Nigeria.
Okay.
And that was when that report came out that Nigeria have the strongest economy in Africa, blah, blah, blah. But what Soludo wants to do with the agreement with the president and with the CEOs of the investors, operators, those banks, which was on ground, immediately Obasanjo left and Yaradua stepped in. Soludo was about to execute the plan, and what Soludo want to start with is Naira equals to dollar, and all the money that have been siphoned like that, one way or the other, EFCC was moving around, mopping in money, and all this money will be to pay all the debts over Naira, so that
bear with him. Network is not a great thing. That's part of the infrastructure. Yeah, go ahead.
They said that plan must not go on. And these are the people that are speaking for Nigeria. They said the plan must not go on. And they said they love Nigeria. But they are eating from the degradation of the currency of Nigeria. They are eating from the falling of the currency, falling of the economy. They said the plan must not go on. So Yaradua said that Soludo should end the plan. And that is how that wonderful resurrection of Naira was finally buried. And all the bank sees all their efforts effortless and needless. Before you know it, Soludo was thrown out of the CBN, and they put Lamido, who for the purpose of the fund, but they spend all the reserve and the fund anyhow. You can see how Obasanjo was angry because Obasanjo knew the purpose of the reserve. And Obasanjo wrote to Jonathan that time, disturbing him that all the money they left in the reserve, in the foreign reserve, Jonathan have squandered everything. See, when purpose is not understood, abuse is inevitable. A lot of Nigerians, I keep saying it, are illiterate. They are illiterate. It doesn't matter the certificate or the qualification they say they have in university. When you say you are a professor of whatever you are or study, and the effect is not envisaged around you, where you are, your certificate and qualification is useless. Now, look at that. From that time, Naira still keep falling. Let us start from where Buhari started. Now, he met Naira to dollar at 100 and something, 170 something or like that. But
150, somewhere around there.
150, all right. But today, just 8 years, the Naira is 800. As at yesterday, in the local market, it was sold at 800.
But what? Okay, sorry, but when we keep hearing from the news network in Nigeria saying that the dollar, maybe that's the bank rate is about 456, because I was following that about 2 days ago. What does that really mean to a layman?
Okay, thank you for exposing them, because that question is expository.
Okay.
Now, Nigeria is the only country in the world where the Apex Bank places true value for its currency. The Naira is sold on the international market as 460 or what is it, 460.
Yeah.
Now, but on the local market in Nigeria, it is sold presently as 800. Now, that's the reason the CBN give order to the Apex Bank of diaspora banks to restrict transfer of hard currencies to Nigeria. You can't send your pounds now to Nigeria directly. You need to go through Bureau de change. You cannot send your dollars from America straight to Nigerian bank. You need to go through Bureau de change. Now, your Visa card, your MasterCard is as useless as just a Verve card within Nigeria, because that Visa and MasterCard cannot purchase any commodity online from international.
Let me get this very well. So what you're saying is, if I travel to Nigeria, with my MasterCard that have been given to me in UK, I was able to spend it just at the boarding gate when I was doing my last shopping. When I arrive in Nigeria, I can also spend it at the airport. Then I can. Is that what you're saying? Or I can't spend it in Nigeria?
With your foreign Visa and MasterCard,
yes,
can work within because it's global. It can work in Nigeria, but the one acquired in Nigeria,
okay,
the one acquired in Nigeria cannot work online, cannot work anywhere. It can.
Okay, so Nigerians. So let's get this right. So Nigerians that have MasterCard and Visa card will not be able to use it online.
Yes, and cannot use it in diaspora.
Why is that?
So Nigerian people, that's why I said Naira which is a tool of economy, was used as a tool of slavery. Nigerian people are being punished for spending Naira by the people in charge of Nigerian government or Naira. Okay. So you cannot, because you are only restricted to within Nigeria, and so you don't have access to that outer world. Except you use Bureau de change. And who are the people in the Bureau de change? They are 90% Northerners.
Wow.
90% Northerners.
Okay.
And the arrangement is that they gave them the local value, which is 800 naira presently. The local value is 460, but the local value is 800. So the excess on it is being shared between the Bureau de Change firm and the CBN. So they deliberately make Nigerians to suffer for spending naira, and they make money.
Wow.
They make money because it's unnecessary to pay that double on what is available globally. But because you are from Nigeria, you suffer to pay the double. Now that is just one out of many punishment Naira punishes Nigerians. Now, for you opening Naira accounts in Nigeria, the CBN gave the law in 2018 that every account that they will pay 2.5% stamp duty.
Okay.
Over every inflow. This is draconic and satanic, because stamp duty were to be a fixed price and it's supposed to function only on current accounts.
Okay.
And they use this stamp duty to remunerate and increase the value of Naira. That is what it's supposed to be, to invest it to increase the value of Naira. That's what it's supposed to be, but that was not the purpose. Now, Soludo, the man in Mefile now said the stamp duty will not be a fixed price anymore, will be on percentage. And number two, it's not only on current account anymore, it is on every account, savings account, current account. So that makes it possible if you send money to anybody on any Nigerian account, that money gets to the account incomplete. If you send 1,000, probably the person gets 9,900 or 800. The money will never be complete. Except you are in Nigeria, you're already in the system. You know you want to send money to that person to purchase certain thing. You had little to eat because you know the wages. Now, PC can't correct account anymore. And the higher the money you send through the bank, the higher the charges, because it's based on percentage.
Somebody is actually listening to us somewhere. These individuals have been in the banking sector for some time, and they agree with what you're saying. But let's go on. And because there's still a lot of questions that we want to ask, but let's continue.
People who are supposed to speak. Of course, a lot of people have been reporting all these.
Even somebody on the Instagram is also somebody is also confirming that you cannot use those cards online, to purchase anything from Nigeria. So what is the essence of this card? But I don't want to divert you, but just go ahead. But I'll be telling you, asking some of these questions. So if I cannot use this card, then what's the purpose of having this card in the first place? They might as well just give us a cashless card that doesn't have anything to do with Visa on it. But go ahead.
The reason why they did that is to block you from accessing the international price, to make you go the route of the Bureau de Change and pay for the local price that they put, which is different from the international price.
Okay, let me get this. I'm a bit lost now. So the way transaction works around the world means that if I am using my Visa card in UK, there is what they call an international, price, or is that what you? It's an international. International.
That is market price.
Okay,
that's
market price.
That's
the
price at the country, the currency of the country you are spending the money places on the value.
Okay, so if I get the message. So the Nigerian government is playing a double game. So they've actually told the world that the dollar is $460, in the banking, you know, whatever.
In the international market.
In
Nigeria, you can't buy it that price. You have to pay more.
That's what I'm saying. So that means that, you know, as much as the government is telling the world that this is the price internationally, but I cannot use the same card, because if I'm buying using my bank card, which I don't want to make any bank name, because, you know, we're not being endorsing any one of them. So if I'm using any letter A bank or letter B bank in Nigeria, then if I'm buying a goods worth $50, I'm meant to be paying the international price, not the Bureau de change price.
Yes.
Okay.
Because the Bureau de change price is a black market.
Okay.
It's a black
so
market.
That is the reason why they've actually blocked the whole of the 200 million Nigerians from accessing the international market. So probably maybe that is why that you know, Alibaba. I remember that people buy about $20. I'm now being told that you cannot even buy anything from Alibaba anymore. Wow.
That's it. And that if I expose more to you, I wouldn't want to expose beyond this again, because if I expose more to you, you will be shocked what is happening, and it's with collusion with let me say some operatives in the international financial system, also with collusion with CBN of Nigeria.
So let's get this right. You know, once again, if you've just joined us, this is
Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
If we say that Nigerians have been, you know, can you mute the one at the background there, because it's feeding back in here? I don't know whether you're listening to something at the background. Let's just keep to the phone.
All right.
Because that one is feeding back into the broadcast.
Oh, it's fan noise. All right.
Should we say that means that Nigerians are being punished with their naira from not accessing the international market?
Yes, that's what I said. Nigeria are being punished for spending naira.
Wow.
The naira is a tool of economy. Is an economic tool. It is the value of the economy of a nation. Now, the people in charge of the economy or the value are using it, the tool that's supposed to be used to better the life of the citizen. They are using it as a tool of punishment or of slavery on the people. I was because I operate as an HR, and I was training some people, some group of youths, some months ago, and that time we are working on the Yoruba Nation Rupa token. A lot of people may not know that Yoruba Nation now have their currency, but it is on a crypto network. So we are working on it, but before that time, I was training some people on how to use crypto, and I'm showing them the importance of saving your money in crypto, the blockchain, away from naira. Because whatever you are doing within Nigeria and you are earning naira, remove your mind from the value of the naira. The commodity doesn't match. The commodity you are using the naira to buy doesn't match. Just make sure you convert your naira to a hard currency on blockchain and leave it there. Then you can see what you are earning and reserve and work harder. And apart from that, when naira falls, your sweat on the blockchain doesn't fall, it appreciates. So I was training. Then one guy now asked me whatever it is, he still believe on the naira that you can just hold on and all that. Okay, and now say, okay, let me enlighten you the more. Of course, there are a lot of cryptos. They are flexible, just like naira is flexible. And now say the worst crypto that is flexible. Is it Doge? Doge is even better. Or which of the crypto that is flexible? I said it's better than naira.
Let me just come in there because I'm just taking from the the report of the BBC As he leaves, President Buhari, handling of the Nigerian economy will most likely be remembered for his botched attempt earlier this year at redesigning the local currency and otherwise rudimentary exercise descending into chaos as the scarcity of the new Naira note, which have now also disappeared, resulted in untold hardship for millions of the Nigerians in the country who rely on the cash for the basic needs. The small businesses we were doing was destroyed by that man, said a university graduate in Abuja, who made money by supplying banknotes to a customer before the cash crisis. Her anger was fueled by a common problem in Nigeria, a lack of work among the educated young Nigeria. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. See, a lot of Nigerians will cry before December this year. A lot of Nigerians that live in denial will cry. It's not, Tinubu will not be able to do anything different because this coming month, June, since the time that Nigerian government, since 8 years of Buhari in government, they've been borrowing. They are on moratorium. They've not been paying back. They are just borrowing. Now, the first loan repayment will start this new June. And the person who borrows the money is going away. The Tinubu, who is new, coming into the office, will be meeting loan to pay immediately, and he's not prepared for it. Finance minister already said last week that there is no any money left. So where will they fall on? They will fall back on the central bank. So this is what the economists have been envisaging, because economists, they work like prophets. They see ahead and prepare. So that's why Naira have started falling from 740 today is now 800. What we envisage is that Naira by June is going to 1,000 or 1,200 to $1.
Wow.
And what that means is that they have to fall Naira so that they can annex the excess dollar over it and be able to borrow the government to pay have money to even pay. And I don't know the nepotism that Tinubu will have, that he won't be able to recall and pick up all these ministers before they run away. Well, are you already saying that as he's going to Katsina, they should let him rest? And if they don't let him rest, he will run to Niger. And if anybody trouble him in Niger Republic government will fight that person. Why is he running? If he's okay, why is he running? Is he a Niger citizen?
But do you think that Tinubu would have, the balls to probe each and every ministry of the previous government that will be handing over to him? Do you think Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect, will have that balls to do so?
He can't do anything because before he get there, he smuggled himself in there. He smuggled himself in there. He buy ways through. He signed unnecessary agreements to have his way, so he cannot get there and break all those agreements. He negotiates his way in there, so he will manage the economy and the nation for the next 4 years. That's why I say Nigerians will cry. And what you don't understand again is that another loan repayment is coming between August to September or October, like that. So within this year, and that one is bigger. It's bigger than this June.
What happens if we don't? What happens if Nigeria do not have enough to repay this loan?
That is what we are saying, that it falls back to the CBN. And the only place where the CBN knows to make money is to fall the Naira. Once they fall the Naira, they get the excess money in dollars diaspora inflow over it. It's like me and you now. we are trading on 1-to-1. But if I'm owing money and I have to pay, I don't have that money to pay, I can tell you that, okay, my reserve with you is 15 naira. Okay, and we are 1-to-1. Please let us be 1-to-half. My own is now half. That means that your one will now be 2 of my own. So my reserve that is with you, which is 50 naira, will turn to 100 naira because your one has turned to 2 of me. 2 of me has turned to 1 of you. So what they now do is that 100 naira they will now take naira down there, but their value have reduced. Their value has reduced. That is how they make money, by falling the naira. That's why naira will never rise, because if they will want to rise naira, all the money they've squandered and stolen, they have to collect it and put it back to strengthen the naira. That's why they will never do that. Naira will continue falling, and that's why it is citizen that pays the penalty. Citizen who live their life to sweat and struggle to earn naira, they are the one that pay for it. Because when you want to do anything on the international ground, you have to pay unnecessary extra. That's what I was explaining to that guy in the training that time. I said, supposing you work and they pay you 1 naira, and this other person work, they say, where do you come from? He say, America, they pay him $1 because it's one value of work. So when 2 of you comes to international market, and the international market look at 2 of you, they say, you that you have 1 naira, you are more valuable than that person. You that you have $1, you are more valuable than that one that has 1 naira. And if you say why, they will explain to you that one that have $1 and you that have 1 naira, it is your country who said that you must sweat for times 800. Is it 800 to $1 now? Yes, 800. You must sweat times 800 to be able to be equal with that one with $1.
So
is the havoc that the economic people managing the economy are doing to the citizen. And that's the reason the naira cannot buy any reasonable commodity. It just carry big number, but cannot buy anything. And that's the reason you see people like Professor Banji Akintoye calling on the reasonable and economists among Yoruba people, and ordered immediate execution of the Yoruba currency to test run Yoruba economy before the achievement of the currency is doing well because it's using blockchain, the crypto network.
Let's take it one at a time, because one minute, Bishop, because you've just jumped into what a lot of people maybe listening for the first time doesn't even understand. What is the Ruba? What is it about? How did that come about? Because we're talking about the Naira. A lot of people are familiar with the Naira, which is what a lot of Nigerians use. Whether you are in Nigeria or outside Nigeria, you probably have a lot of projects that you're doing back home. What is Ruba, and why Ruba? In the conversation, because we are discussing the legacy of the good and the bad of President Muhammadu Buhari, and as we all know also that there are some other part of Nigerians, the indigenous people, that are also campaigning back to back, for their exit out of Nigeria. And if that is going to happen, you will not be able to spend Naira. You would have to rely on a particular currency. So let's talk about, these Ruba. What does it mean, for that individual person that is listening to us for the very first time?
All right. Thank you very much. Now, to talk about Ruba, I will first tell you about the Reserve Bank of Yoruba Nation. Is the proposed apex bank for Yoruba country, but runs under the management of Yoruba Committee of People. So the committee exercise rights of providing regulatory rules use and collect royalties on the Ruba. So presently we have like 8 investors, operators, or like network banks or e-banks operating Ruba all around the world. Now Ruba, being a proposed national currency of the Yoruba nation, exists as a fixed currency. It's a fixed currency, and it's built on the dollar network. It sells on international market for $12. But it can be purchased $. And because the network, the blockchain network, will charge $, it uses TRC20. So Ruba presently exists on blockchain network using TRC Tron. So Ruba exists as a two form. You have YNRT, Yoruba Nation Ruba Token. That one is operated under RBE Exchange Management, and that is our own company, RBE Virtual Bank. And while it also exists as RBT, that is Ruba Dual Token, that is under Ruba Quarter Exchange Management. That is people know them as Ruba Cash, another management. So the rest management link up with 2 of us, and the 2 of us will link our API together. So we are forming our own big blockchain company. We have a plan to buy our own transmitter, so to give license and network to others too. So but presently we are getting a contract network for Binance. So just the way dollar exists as USDT, BUSD, and USDC, and with the same value, that's the same. We have YNRT and RBT. They are both Ruba and the same value. Now, Ruba function using the contract network from Binance. I said it globally. Binance is a blockchain company and is reliable all around the world, and they have offices in almost countries of the world.
Okay,
So
let me come in there. A lot of our people at home, number one, are not tech wise. What you're discussing right now will involve a bit of technology. A lot of our people in Nigeria have been used to
let me come in there.
Yeah.
Let me come in there. That is the mindset of a lot of our people in diaspora. No,
Okay.
that's wrong. A lot of our people at home are highly they are intelligent in all those things. You can imagine a pepper seller with a cross wallet. They have all these things.
Okay.
Yes. So the people that are having little issues are let's say the outright talks or touts who didn't give a damn to life, making life serious before, but they have friends who is now educating them, telling them you want more Coinbase, you want more Bitcoin, you want a mini corner, and they all have in it. They can
So
teach
are they using these to transact in Nigeria? I mean, in terms of the Nigerian.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. The problem that some of them may have is that they don't have enough money to keep. They live from hand to mouth.
Okay.
But all these things they are now having, and we are now teaching them the importance, telling them our own side, RBE banking.org. Our app will be out this week. People can, apart from the site, RBEbanking.org, our mobile app will be out this week. People can download on Google Play Store so that it can be on their wallet like that.
So is this like a prep for what? Because we know that I mean, we're still looking into the legacy of this government in 8 years, while we are also like I said at about 7:30 we talk about more of Yoruba Nation, even though we've tucked in quicker than the timing, but it's still all interlinked together.
Now,
Go ahead.
Let me put it straight. Now, the purpose, in the presence of Dr. Chief Sunday Igbo Osha, we were there analyzing the purpose for giving order for executing our currency in advance. Number one, because to save the financial asset of our people at home. What happened in January and February make a lot of people in diaspora to cry, watching their siblings at home. Many of them having money in the bank, they can't access it, they can't collect it. The central bank SWIFT network was destabilized. People's money lost indiscriminately. Till now, some of my naira in some of my two banks there, I can't even call them to say, please reverse this, because they are having problem themselves. Till now, they've not resolved it. Just because they are changing currency. They are changing. War have not started. Fight have not started. They are just changing currency. There is no money to spend outside. People were buying money. People were using like 3,000 to buy 10,000. That means your 10,000 naira is as good as 7,000 naira as at that time. And so, if there is now problem, because we say we want to go, it means our people's money in Nigeria bank will vanish away. And what is happening in Sudan also teach us a big lesson, because we learned that a lot of Nigerians in Sudan were selling their properties to buy pure water. They have money in Sudanese bank, but they can't collect it because they are fighting war there.
So that means, you know, those Nigerians that had the money in that bank could not access the money because of the situation. And I remember even the central bank in Sudan was there was a fire that was even as of today, from the news coming from Sudan, you know, there was a aircraft that crashed, even though the two pilots ejected, and the situation is still very tense. We are not praying for war in Nigeria, but what we saw during the redesign of the naira in December was more than a war, because we saw that as many Nigerians had money, elderly people were crying. You know, people died because they couldn't access their own money. I mean, we come back to that, Ruba, but in terms of the Buhari's government, what does that teach us in advance for those that are saying, we are not going to be part of Nigeria, but should we prepare more, or should we just say, okay, we should relax now? It's a Yoruba man that is there. Tinubu will look into all these situations that you're discussing, and probably, even though you did mention that it's going to take 20 years, and I believe Tinubu is not going to be using 20 years, you know, to revive the naira. That is even if we know that as we speak right now, we are still servicing the debt. We are not even paying, you know, the actual money as we speak right now. But my point is, as Buhari damaged, you know, the economy far more than what Jonathan left in 2015, and in terms of the Yorubas that are saying, look, you know, we are tired of being Nigerians, we got to start preparing our mind now. And if you're going to get a country, definitely currency is very, very important. If we cannot have that currency physically, can we transact it digitally? And the other question I'm asking again is, I know there's a lot of questions, because these are the questions that is going to be coming from the minds of the people. And I believe we should come back again next week, which we'll have more time as well, even though we still have an hour to go. You can easily apply for, you know, bank card here in UK. And what I mean by that is there's so many online accounts where you can easily submit your ID, and within 10 minutes, you've been given a bank account and a sort code. Are we thinking of that direction so that we can move away from the normal bank in Nigeria? Now I'm talking about the Yoruba people, where we can start moving away from using some of these, you know, nonsense banks that have literally kept our people in abject poverty in the game that they are playing with some of our Yoruba people at home. So I know there's a lot of questions there, but I'll just give you another half an hour to run through it as we continue to review these good, bad legacy of President Muhammadu Buhari. Go ahead, Bishop Additional. Oh, okay, sorry, we actually lost him there. I didn't know we lost you there, so I don't know whether you had all the questions that were asking.
Oh, So
Okay, all right. So,
so
so I have to reverse it then.
okay.
I asked a lot of
Okay.
questions, so we'll just try and summarize it. First and foremost, I was actually asking the question: the good, the bad, and the Buhari's government. Can we say that this government have destroyed the Nigerian economy much faster, even though Jonathan was probably a little bit slower, but Buhari tend to be a little bit more faster, and that is why we're where we are today. That's number one. Number two, as many Yorubas that are saying that, look, Tinubu is there. Why are you worried that, yourself, is going to deal with this economy? You told us that in 20 years, the Naira is not going to rise up. Tinubu is going to be there for 8 years. So that means we have to wait for another 8 years, another government, and probably add another 4 to make that 20 years. I don't know whether Nigerians would like to stay there. Now with the Yorubas, in UK, you can literally have a bank account with a card, and that card can be used on the for buying goods, even though you are servicing that card, because some pays up to £10, but you will also get a UK sort code and account number. Are the Yorubas, these committee looking into the Ruba, are they also thinking in that direction, or is it something that we have to wait until when the country eventually comes through, which we don't know how soon that is going to happen? But what you're talking about now is more of transaction that we can start bit by bit in preparedness for those of us that do not believe in Nigeria. And I do not believe in Nigeria anymore. Go ahead.
All right. The first question is exactly true. It's exactly true because the economy within the short time of 8 years destroyed faster. You can see the margin of 50 to the margin of 800 within 8 years. And just January to this present May, Naira has fallen to dollar by 40%. So Central Bank of Nigeria has come out like 3 or 5 times, giving new value, reducing Naira for dollar. And Ruba is on dollar blockchain, the network, and it is $12 to 1 Ruba. So if Naira fall to $1, it will be times 12 for Ruba. So Naira has fallen to Yoruba Nation Ruba token in 40% between January to this present time. So it's a bonus for a lot of Yoruba people who have opened the Ruba account and keep their money there. Their money is not falling. So the Naira reckless degradation. Now, the question number 2. The question number 2 talks about, can you quickly remind me question number 2?
The question number 2 again is surrounding the Yorubas, having our own bank account.
Yeah. Now, I think that's question number 3.
Yeah. I can't even remember the question to myself anymore. I think question number 2 was surrounding the you've talked about that Buhari damaged the economy much more faster. But I was actually asking, surrounding let's just continue with that, because I think I lost the question there, but I'll probably remind myself, and then I can ask you again.
Now, the question 3 that you asked, according to the international financial rule, we cannot operate the local SWIFT code just like the way the Central Bank of country operates and within the ambience of the country, transacting like bank. Of course, transaction is transaction. But the way you open a bank and just send and yet at the bank account, no, that is when we have the license and authority of a country. That's when we'll build our own Apex Bank and we acquire our own transmitter, and then we can now transmit our own Swift code. So that is that one. But presently, there is a free market. That free market is called blockchain. Even all the central bank of all the world, they take advantage of blockchain. That is what they use in sending money to diaspora. Central Bank of Nigeria uses blockchain to send money to America. It is blockchain America used to send money to Nigeria. So, but that blockchain is a free market. It's a free market. That is what we harness. We harness the blockchain, and that is the network that the cryptocurrencies take advantage of also. It is blockchain network. It's a free market. So we harness the blockchain network, and it is not under any country. So no country has power over it to control or to stop it or to anything. It's a free market. That is what the forex market also take advantage of.
Let me ask this. As it's just come up to my mind.
So the Ruba uses the blockchain to do transaction, and it is global. It is global. Immediately, it has no boundary of country. So this is what they use.
Is there a way? Is there a way that rather than sending the money to our loved ones, using the current situation in Nigeria, I mean, for the diaspora that believe in the Yoruba nation, I'm talking about now, because we're now at 7:30, where this particular program is sponsored by Ilana Omodua, as we continue to promote the Yoruba nation agenda as well. Is there a way, because I know that we have a lot of people that does these sending money to Africa in Nigeria precisely because it's a huge target. But is there a way that we can start sending our money directly, by setting up something in UK or in America or around the world, and then whatever we are sending is not going through the system in Nigeria, but it's going to go directly to our people? I mean, I'm just trying to think of that.
That is what we are doing.
Okay.
That is exactly what you are talking about. That is what we are talking about. Because it has to use a network. That network is blockchain.
So that has nothing to do with the Swift code.
That is global.
So that has nothing to do with the Swift code. So
with the Swift code, it has nothing to do with the
so that means that when people are sending money home, we keep sending money home all the time. So rather than sending that money through those systems, when we have our own system, we can send it through that system, and the money will be received, and they can make use of the money on the ground.
Yes, that is what is happening. People are sending money already, and it's working. It's going through, and all the virtual banks, we are on the same API. So even if you, just like if you have money in a First Bank, you can send money to Access Bank, and it will enter. The same way, all of us that operating the virtual banks, you can send to your customer that is with me. It will enter. And if you now want to convert that Ruba to the local currency, to Naira, we will do it for you. It will credit your Naira account, and your Ruba will be deducted on the international value price.
Okay.
So that is what is happening. That is what is happening. So we have done that. That is what we are doing. So it's not that we want to be doing it. It's already been done. So I was talking about the three reasons why Baba said it should be executed and it should set rolling. First, to save the financial asset of our people at home, because we now see that the financial asset of our people is not safe under Nigeria. Number two is to rescue people in diaspora. In case, at least if we have our country today, there are a lot of monetary policy that these countries are placed in their bank so that you won't be able to move money out. But when you put your money in Ruba, it has no barrier of what do they call it, money laundry or any amount you move, and it within 1 minute you can convert to anywhere you are, the currency of the country.
I don't know.
So you take any amount you take out. Now the third purpose is to test run the Yoruba people's economy. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Once again, we are still live with Bishop Adeshino as we continue to discuss the, the good, the bad, the ugly side of Buhari. Let's read some of the comments. Still stay there, Bishop. I will rate Buhari number one. He's a failed president. He's incompetent as a president. And this is coming from one of the comments as well. Also, Nigeria is a failed country. No president can fix this calm nation. We cannot solve Nigerian problems now. What we need is our own Yoruba nation, no going back. And like I say, we're now at exactly 7:37, where we continue. Comrade Plan B said, Buhari, tears in my eyes, tears over my eyes. And I'm sure there's so many people that are having that tears. Maddie P say, so nobody can stop them in Nigeria. You see why those fighting for freedom should play skillfully. Thank you so much. Okay, Kayo, this is the Yoruba Nation Media has a lot to do to promote the Ruba and out of our shoe. Bimileke, thank you so much, my auntie. Beautiful Yemisi Olani Ruga Jaya. Thank you so much. Let's come back to you, Bishop. In as much as I know, the conversation is brought on the side because the Nigerian economy is damaged. The Yorubas that are fighting for the right to self-determination, which again is our, inalienable right, just as the Scottish are doing as well. But the only thing is that, the politicians in the Southwest are not supporting the agenda. I understand a lot of our people are always skeptical, but they're not skeptical when they're sending money to somebody that they don't even know, especially those of us outside the country. I've seen a lot of people that have moved with some of our money, and I'm not talking about small money. We believe in what they are doing. How do we get the message of the Ruba? How do we start getting the message to our people that it's not just about, coming online and talking about the Yoruba nation? We also need to start thinking about the policies, the kind of economy that we want to run, the kind of, project that you've just brought out. Because, like I said, whether we like it or not, we must prepare our mind, but we must also trust. How do we put the trust around the Ruba that you're discussing? Because, like I said, we know our people are always skeptical. Who is behind it? Who is running it? Is it a Yoruba man? Oh, no. Maybe we should get a Oyibo woman. We should get a Oyibo man. And just as we saw Tony Blair in Nigeria yesterday, I don't know why Tony Blair has decided to be the first person to visit the president-elect, but I believe more people will be comfortable to see Tony Blair than hearing Bishop Adeshino talking about the Ruba. Go ahead, Bishop.
Thank you.
And this also is an opportunity. If we want to speak our language, this is the period we can do so because it is a sponsored program. So in as much as we want to carry us, for those that are non-Nigerians, you might not understand what is going on right now, but we will carry you along. But like I said, this particular segment now is sponsored by Ilano, and we can also speak in our language. So that means we can do both as well. Go ahead, Bishop Adeshino.
Okay, Yoruba. Listen, now, àwọn tó wà ní ìdí Rúbà wọ́n ṣe fọkàn tán nítorí wípé àgbékalẹ̀ àti àṣẹ bàbá wa Professor Emeritus Banji Akíntóyèdé tí gbogbo àwọn àgbààgbà Yorùbá náà lè fọwọ́ sí. And ìdí tó ń ṣe fọwọ́ sí ni wípé wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe ìrànlọ́wọ́ fún àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó wà nílé kí owó wọn kó má gbé sí abẹ́ báńkì Nàìjíríà torí bí Nàìjíríà ṣe ń wó lulẹ̀ lọ báńkì Nàìjíríà ń wó lulẹ̀ lọ ẹkọ́nọ́mì Nàìjíríà ń wó lulẹ̀ lọ yẹn. Then ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì ni wípé kí àwọn èèyàn wa tó wà ní òkè òkun tí nǹkan tá à ń lé tó bá délẹ̀ tán kí wọ́n lè gbé owó wọn àti ọrọ̀ wọn máa bọ̀ wálé nítorí pé àwọn òyìnbó yẹn ti ṣe ètò sí àwọn báńkì wọn tó jẹ́ pé nílé ìkéré oko máa bọ̀ wálé gbogbo owó ní oníye tẹ́ lè gbé. So ẹlẹ́kẹta òun ni wípé kí a lè wo bí ọrọ̀ ajé ilẹ̀ wa láì jẹ́ tí fọwọ́ kan ohun àlùmọ́ọ́nì wa rárá ká lè wo bó ṣe lè rí ní abẹ́ tí ilé ìfowópamọ́ àwọn bó ṣe máa rí ìdí mẹ́ta nìyẹn tí bàbá ṣe pàṣẹ pé kí kinní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀. Number one, náírà ní Nàìjíríà ó ṣubú lulẹ̀ lọ and kò tó ra nǹkan kan mọ́, kò tó ra nǹkan kan, kò tó the lowest náírà tẹ́lẹ̀ fi ra nǹkan òun ni 50 náírà á ra ṣubú 50 náírà. Ìwọ tó wà l'Amẹ́ríkà tó bá ní $50 owó ńlá ló mú tó wà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Tó bá ní 50 pounds ó lè kí owó yẹn ò lè sọnù.
Máa tọ́jú ẹ̀ pa ni o. Abẹ́ bàtà ni máa fi sí.
50 náírà ní Nàìjíríà ó lè sọ dànù, ó lè bínú sọ dànù. Because nǹkan tó lè rà bí nǹkan tẹ́lẹ̀ fáwọn ọmọdé, my children that are going to school cannot use 50 naira to buy biscuit nítorí bisikíìtì nìyẹn. Bisikíìtì tó máa rà tó máa nínú ọ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ dáhùn bá máa ṣàdúrà pé dáàdì wa buy biscuit fún wa start from 150 200. 50 naira is useless in Nigeria. That is how it is. And that's the reason tí nígbà tó ń ṣe microanalysis yẹn owó nígbà yẹn tí gbogbo àwọn bàbá yẹn wá fóun tẹ̀tẹ̀. Our lowest currency, which is nítorí the way you have pounds and pence, dollar and cents, only and ruba and dua. Dua and the coin, wẹ́wẹ́. So and half dua, over that we have dua. So it starts from that 50 naira. Nítorí nǹkan tó lè rà nìyẹn, nǹkan the lowest thing. So half dua yẹn equals to 50 naira. Then one dua gogon, so that be 1 pen. One dua gogon equals to 100 naira. And you have 100 dua make 1 ruba. And that is why you have 100 times 100, that is 10,000. So that's why you have 1 ruba for 10,000 naira. Now, when you take it to blockchain, that 10,000 naira is about $13. The blockchain will charge you $1 and leave $12 in your ruba. That's the reason ruba is equal to $12. So you will buy at $13 and you collect back at $12. So that is the evaluation. Now, within 5 months that ruba has been on the market like that, naira has fallen to ruba. Naira ti ṣubú bí ẹ̀mẹ́rin ní ìpele ẹ̀mẹ́rin sí ruba. So by June nísìn bí a ṣe ń fojú sùn wò tí náírà bá lọ ṣubú sí 1,000 naira to $1 and ìlọ́po méjìlá ní dọ́là sí rúbà kan, it is $12. So tí náírà bá lọ ṣe nítorí ó wà ní 800 lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí, tó bá lọ ṣubú by June sí 1,000 naira, rúbà will appreciate against naira. So ó máa di 14,000 naira for 1 ruba. So analysis yẹn tún máa padà sísàlẹ̀ á jẹ́ wípé half dua máa jẹ́ 70 naira, 1 dua máa jẹ́ 140 naira. So times 100 you have 14,000 naira to 1.
Ẹ bá wa tún túbẹ̀ yẹn sọ, so tíyàn bá ní 1 ruba equivalent of 1 èlò ní nísìn ní náírà.
Nísìn ní náírà is still 10,000 naira.
Bí ẹ bá gé ní kékèké torí 10,000 yẹn ẹ ti multiply ẹ nìyẹn àbí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni, okay. So tó bá di 14,000 naira to 1 ruba by June, half dua máa jẹ́ 70 naira, 1 dua máa jẹ́ 140 naira, 2 dua máa jẹ́ 280 naira, 5 dua máa jẹ́ 700 naira, 10 dua ó máa jẹ́ 1,400. Àwọn coin là ń sọ yẹn o. 20 dua ó máa jẹ́ 2,800. 50 dua ó máa jẹ́ 7,000 naira. That means 50 coin tó dàbí 50 pence or 50 kobo.
So 50 dua máa jẹ́ 7,000 naira.
Naira, yes. So that is, and you know that 50 méjì ní 100.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So 7,000 méjì, that is 14,000. So 1 ruba is 14,000. Then 5 ruba 70,000. 10 ruba 40,000. 20 ruba 280,000.
Mo ń bí ní ìbéèrè kan nígbà tá à ń bá ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn lọ ní èdè ti Gẹ̀ẹ́sì. Mo láwọn èèyàn wa nílé, àwọn ìyá àgbàlagbà, àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké tí ó jẹ́ pé náírà ni wọ́n ti ń rí tí wọ́n ń fìlì lọ́wọ́. A wá ń sọ ọ̀rọ̀ nípa in tó dàbí tí a ní rí lọ́wọ́. Báwo la ṣe fẹ́ ṣàlàyé fún irú àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ lórí rúbà yìí? Nítorí pé lótìtọ́ kò ń ṣe tí a lè máa ná láàrin ara wa ju pé within the network tí ó wà sí tó táwọn èèyàn máa láti understand. Ẹ mọ̀ pé bí bá fẹ́ lọ sí ọjà nísìn, ṣé mo lè mú rúbà yẹn lọ síbẹ̀ pé ẹ gba rúbà yìí, ẹ jẹ́ ká fi jọ díwọ̀n kémi gbẹja lọ́wọ́ yín kẹ́yìn gba rúbà, àbí ṣé irú ẹni tọ́nù máa láti lè ṣe láti inú bí a ṣe ń fi owó ránṣẹ́ sí ara wa, tó láwọn kan máa fowó ránṣẹ́ through PayPal àbí Cash App. A dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn tó bá sẹ́ndẹ̀ ẹni tó bá sẹ́ndẹ̀ $50 kò ń ṣe pé $50 yìí ló máa gbà ní pounds. Wọ́n máa yọ nǹkan kan kúrò lára ẹ̀, wọ́n á yọ percentage kan ní ẹ̀nà lára ẹ̀, bí àwa gba bí 46 pounds. Ẹni tó ní platform ti gba owó tiẹ̀, ìwọ náà dẹ̀ bá owó tọ̀dọ̀ tiẹ̀. But n tí mo fẹ́ mọ̀ ni pé àwọn èèyàn wa tó wà nílé, wẹ́dà ní ìgbèríko àbí ní abúlé àbí ní city, ǹjẹ́ a lè lọ sọ fún wọn pé a ti ń ní owó ti tọ̀dọ̀ tiwa? Mo dẹ̀ rí pé ìlú kan wà nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tó yẹ pé wọ ọ̀nà náírà. Mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé ẹ mọ̀ nípa ìlú yẹn tán pé tẹ bá àwọn ò lo náírà rárá. So wọ́n ti ń lo intern sọ pé trade by barter tí a máa láti ṣe analysis lé lórí, but eléyìí tí mò ń sọ nísìnyí pé ṣé a lè lọ sínú ọjà láti lọ ná rúbà yìí nísìn àbí báwo?
Owó méjì ni ó wà. Owó tí a lè fojú rí ní pépà àti owó tí ó wà nínú afẹ́fẹ́.
Okay.
Now, owó tó wà nínú afẹ́fẹ́ ìyẹn gangan lówó. Owó tó wà nínú pépà ìlú ló tẹ̀. So tí ìlú ló tẹ̀, now owó tó wà ní inú pépà kò láyọ̀lé nítorí ìlú tó tẹ̀ yẹn nìkan ló ti lè ná owó yẹn. O lè mú bí Nàìjíríà ṣe tóbi tó yìí, o lè ná náírà ní Benin Republic, sẹ́pà náà nọ́mbẹ̀. Nítorí nǹkan táwọn tíjọba tí wọ́n tẹ̀ kan máa ná nìyẹn. So àwọn báǹkì ni ó máa ń ṣe pàṣípààrọ̀ láàrin ara wọn nípa owó tẹ̀yìn ní sínú afẹ́fẹ́, wọ́n lè fi ṣe pàṣípààrọ̀ ẹ̀. So owó tó wà nínú afẹ́fẹ́ gangan lówó.
So tí bá ẹ má bínú, so ìyẹn ni pé láṣẹ máa ń ní tí bá fẹ́ lọ ìrìn àjò, màá lọ síbi ibi tí a ti ń ṣe owó lọ́dọ̀ tiwa níbi post office àbí àwọn ibi tí ó jẹ́ ibi tí ìjọba tó ń ṣe ti Nàìjíríà táwọn málà tó ń ṣe fún wa, tí wọ́n ti sọ pé iye báyìí ni máa ṣe eléyìí, èmi á wá fún wọn ní owó ti Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, àwọn á wá fún mi ní dọ́là, ìyẹn tó bá yẹ pé mo fẹ́ gbé pépà dání sọ́wọ́.
Okay. So àwọn ti ní owó nínú afẹ́fẹ́ tó máa fi convert ẹ̀. So fún wọn bàtà yẹn fẹ́ lò yẹn, ẹ wọlé ẹ change ẹ̀, àwọn á change ẹ̀, àwọn á lọ change ẹ̀ later. So that's the rate. So níwọ̀n gbà tí Yorùbá ò tí ì gba ìlú, wọn ò ní àṣẹ láti ná owó pépà yẹn. Nítorí wọn ò tí ì ní ìlú, wọn ò tí ì ní ìlú. But owó inú afẹ́fẹ́ gbogbo èèyàn pátápátá àti iléeṣẹ́ tí ò ń ṣèlú àti just ordinary iléeṣẹ́ ni wọ́n ní àṣẹ láti ná owó inú afẹ́fẹ́. That's the reason tẹ́ ní àwọn bitcoin yẹn wọ́n ń ṣèlú.
Òun náà mo fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ nísìnyí pé torí pé mo mọ̀ pé PayPal àwọn yẹn ti wà tipẹ́, àwọn èèyàn dẹ̀ ń lò ó láti fi ṣe ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan. Nàìjíríà nìkan ni PayPal ti ṣiṣẹ́ nítorí pé ara àwọn ìdí tí economy ti bàjẹ́ nìyẹn àti society.
PayPal sọ pé òun ò gba náírà ni, PayPal ló kọ náírà sílẹ̀. Nítorí ó ní pé wọn ò stable. Báwo ni láàárín oṣù mẹ́rin owó owó lù padà owó yẹn ò ṣe gbọ́kànlé.
ṣẹ́rẹ̀ mọ̀ pé lọ́dọ̀ tiwa níbí fáǹfààní àwọn tí wọ́n ń rò pé pépà ni a gbọ́dọ̀ máa ná kódà níjọ́ míì nínú oṣù èèyàn lè má bá pépà yẹn pàdé wàá kọ́ máa lówó tó ń wá sínú káàdì ẹ̀ kọ́ máa fi ṣe transaction lọ gbogbo ìrìn àjò tí mo rìn lénìí mo ì tí ì ná owó ní cash mo parọ́ mo ná £1 nígbà tí mo ń ṣe testing ní project tí mo ní mo ti fi gbé jáde 24 years in UK life in UK fídíò yẹn máa jáde láìpẹ́ yìí lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ oríṣiríṣi fídíò question yẹn máa bí mi ní question màá máa dá yín lóhùn àti ń ṣiṣẹ́ lé lórí a máa launch ẹ̀ a máa sọjọ́ ta máa launch ẹ̀ bí a bishop náà máa wà lórí ìjókòó tó ta máa launch ẹ̀ ìyẹn sọ pé 24 years of my life in UK mo wá ń test nǹkan kan nígbà tí mo fẹ́ ra bó ṣe ń ra oyster fún kò dẹ́n ṣe Yorùbá nìkan mò ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo àgbáyé ni mò ń bá sọ̀rọ̀ lórí fídíò tí a fẹ́ ṣe yìí torí ẹlòmíṣẹ́ dé UK ìtì mo wá fẹ́ sọ ni pé but ìgbà tí mò ń jáde lọ bank card mi tí wọ́n fún mi òun ni mo fi ń touch tí mo fi dé ibi tí mo dé lísìn òun náà ló tún máa gbé mi padà lọ sílé kódà nígbà tí mo fẹ́ ra oúnjẹ tí mo rà yẹn wọ́n díẹ̀ ní Central London yẹn o kí ló dé wọ́n gba bíi pọ́n mẹ́wàá àti sílè méjì ìyẹn owó tọ̀dọ̀ tiwa mo wá ní kó má jẹ́ kí n jẹ gbogbo oúnjẹ yẹn tán mo ní kó bá ń pín sí méjì bí ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú kí ló dé lórí ìjókòó kan máa dẹ̀ jẹ oúnjẹ pọ́n mẹ́wàá pẹ̀lú sílè méjì ó wá ń bi mí pé irú drink mo fẹ́ drink mo lómi nínú bag má tún ta drink fún mi mo á rántí pé inú Central London mo wà mo ò sí lẹ́yìn abúlé tèmi ẹgbọ́n sókè so in tí mo fẹ́ fàyọ́ bẹ̀ ni pé kò ń ṣe dandan ni pé kéèyàn ní owó pépà lọ́wọ́ nígbà tí in tó bá ní bá ti lè fi múùvù in tó ń ṣe èyí tó ṣe kókó jù nìyẹn ẹgbọ́n sókè.
owó inú afẹ́fẹ́ ó cut across boundary ìlú. ó cut across boundary ìlú that's why tí a ṣe gbé rúbà lọ sí orí blockchain.
mo kí yàwá Sarah.
ibikíbi tó bá wà kò ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú wà ní Nàìjíríà àbò wà ní Dubai ibikíbi tó bá wà ló lè gba owó yẹn jáde sí kọ́rẹ́nsì ìlú yẹn wà á dẹ̀ ná owó ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀. wà á ná currency here because you can convert to any currency. So láti wá ní pé rògbòdìyàn ṣẹlẹ̀ níbí ní Nàìjíríà ń bí owó ẹ̀ ò ní gbé nínú báńkì Nàìjíríà ó jẹ́ Ghana ló sá lọ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní Togo ní UK ní Amẹ́ríkà ní wàá pa rúbà ẹ̀ jáde padà sí dọ́là àbówó tó ń nọ́mbẹ̀ abẹ́rẹ́ sí ní màánà kàkà kí owó ẹ̀ gbé sí abẹ́ Central Bank Nàìjíríà àwọn tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ní Ukraine nísìn ṣé owó
so intan sọ nísìn ni pé gbogbo àwọn tó ní owó nínú báǹkì wọn níbẹ̀ wọ́n rówó gbà jáde báyìí.
ní Ukraine tógun yẹn bá parí owó yẹn ti lọ nìyẹn.
ok.
ẹ̀yin náà ẹ máa wò ṣé nìkan lè padà kán ní ogun Ukraine ti parí kán wá padà kán máa lọ kanlẹ̀kùn báǹkì kan ó ní kógun yẹn tó
báǹkì kan lówó lọ́wọ́ mọ́. ànáwọn ẹ mẹ́ta ẹ̀ka lọ Ukraine ẹja wá sísàlẹ̀ lọ́dọ̀ tiwa ẹja wá sí East Africa ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Nàìjíríà ló sá àsálà fẹ́mi ẹ̀ nítorí pé nígbà tí wàhálà tí sùrùtù bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́hùn. For those that don't understand what we are saying, this is the sponsor part of the Naija Voices that comes up from 7:30 to 8:30 discussing about the Yoruba nation that are indigenous people. And the language that is being spoken on the Star Radio UK this evening is called the Yoruba language. It is still the conversation from the Nigeria, the bad government, but this time around we are more focusing on the way forward and what we should be expecting, at any time, when the indigenous people will decide finally what to do with their life. Just as I said earlier this afternoon during my outing, Abraham Lincoln, if the 16th American president, was assassinated at the age of 56, today, as I saw his statue, so many people are going there to worship it. And the reason for that is those Americans will never, forget somebody like that. So today, it might be like, Ruba, what are they talking about? It's not going to happen. But I'm sure it is already going on and it is already in the process. It's okay, Bishop.
So Ruba now, Ruba Naira has fallen to Ruba.
Ẹ má bínú yẹn kan béèrè pé ṣé a lè gba ike owó lórí Ruba?
And that is ATM card.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
A ní àwọn ó ní ìkan nínú báńkì wa tó ní ètò lórí ẹ̀ ní Dubai.
Okay.
Àwọn Ruba cash wọ́n ṣètò lórí ìyẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ̀gbọ́n máa gbé ike jáde.
Ẹ mọ̀ pé
àwọn kan require a lot of money because interswitch máa gba owó gidi. It's like another.
Kíyàn má lọ náwó tí kò sí kọ́ lè mọ ibi tó ti fẹ́ rówó yẹn gbà padà. Torí pé gbogbo owó tèmi ná lórí ike mi lé ní nísìn guarantee wà lórí ike yẹn ni pé bí Koiki ṣe ń náwó yìí kó má di pé Koiki máa fa owó yẹn yọ tó ti ń complain pé pọ́n mẹ́wàá lóhun ra búrẹ́dì kan tóhun jẹ ní Central London kó má di pé àwọn náà ní lówó tí wọ́n yọ. So àwọn tó ní ike yẹn wọ́n ń guarantee gbogbo transaction tèmi ṣe pé tó ọ̀bá tẹ̀ rówó yọ àwọn á sì dáwó yẹn dán padà kó tó di pé àwọn máa lé mi mú. Okay, so that means pé ó ṣe kókó ó ṣe pàtàkì pé kí ọmọ Yorùbá túbọ̀ máa lọ fi owó sí irú bíi àbí central account tó ní ká máa lọ fowó sí yẹn kí a lè fi ṣe kí ni ká lè fi build gbogbo tá à ń sọ yìí náà àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́. Torí pé tá a bá ní owó tó pọ̀ ní tá a bá ní bí àbí $10 million nínú central account a lè guarantee any company níta pé a lówó báyìí for now bó tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé lórí $5 million la máa guarantee kódà ká má lo gbogbo $5 million tó kù tán ẹgbọ́n sókè.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni so gbogbo irú àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni ní next meeting tí à ń ṣe pẹ̀lú bàbá wípé àwọn because gbogbo kì í bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ní returns tí ó láti máa padà bank àwọn committee example tí wọ́n mójútó kìíní so wá lè máa wọlé fún ìlọsíwájú Yorùbá so Yorùbá ò ní máa ní pé ta ló lè fún wa lówó ọ̀n bẹ̀bẹ̀ owó kiri ẹnìkan wá jáde àná ti kówó òun jẹ́ o.
Èèyàn kan béèrè pé bíyàn wá fẹ́ fi pounds sí ṣé ọ̀nà wà náà tíyàn lè fi pounds sínú tá à ń sọ èyí tó máa gba rúbà dání sọ tó máa tọ́jú ẹ̀ torí asára àwọn tó ń ra góòlù tó ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ pamọ́ adẹ̀rẹ̀ àwọn tó ń ra oríṣiríṣi nǹkan tó fi wò pé lọ́jọ́ iwájú báwọn bá tẹ̀ lọ àwọn àárín kan filẹ̀ fáwọn ọmọ torí pé gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ti ń dá ẹran tí pé tẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa tó jẹ́ diaspora ká tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ Yorùbá nation gan wọ́n máa ń send owó sílé tó ń tọ́jú ẹ̀ pamọ́ àmọ́ gbogbo owó tó send sílé kò fẹ́ mú value kankan padà wá mọ́ nísìn bí àyẹn làwọn ṣe ń wò pé èyí táwọn kúkú máa fi send owó kó fún àwọn ní náírà ẹlòmíràn rò pé £940 sí £1 wọ́n ti gbàgbé pé nísàlẹ̀ náà kò ní value kankan àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ àbó ní value nísàlẹ̀.
Kò ní value kankan so nǹkan tí n fẹ́ ṣàlàyé fún ẹni tó béèrè yẹn is that wọ́n máa níbi láti bóyá àwọn ni o àbáwọn ẹgbẹ́ o kàn pè mí kí n lè yànnàná ṣàlàyé fún how to operate it. Okay. Now o lè transfer pounds láti account straight into crypto network o láti convert sí crypto ni so you have to employ the service of somebody that knows crypto but tó o bá mọ crypto lò bàbá ti sọ fún wa wípé we should make it simple as possible and secured as possible so tó o bá mọ crypto lò ó ní nǹkan tá à ń pè ní P2P P2P means people to people so ó lè pè mí ọ̀ kó pe àwọn tó wà lórí P2P lórí sáìtì wa àwọn ló máa sẹ́ndì local currency ẹ̀yẹn sí wọ́n á wá kírẹ́díìtì equivalent rúbà ẹ̀ sí àkáǹtì ẹ̀ tó bá dẹ̀ fẹ́ gba owó jáde náà same way wà á sẹ́ndì rúbà sí wọn wọ́n á sẹ́ndì equivalent local currency sí local currency àkáǹtì ẹ̀ so.
Okay.
That's the one. Tí wọ́n bá mọ crypto lò fine just convert your local currency to crypto ó ń gba USD dollar ó ń gba BUSD dollar ó ń gba USBC dollar Bitcoin, mention all those about 12 network, TLC, ó wà ní tó bá ti open account ẹ lórí rbebanking.org to sign up. Yorùbá Nation wà ńbẹ̀ tó bá mú country after Yemen, Yorùbá Nation wà ńbẹ̀, but tó bá jẹ́ pé ọmọ Nàìjíríà ní ẹ ló wà big Nàìjíríà.
À ń bọ̀ bàbá wa ẹ̀dẹ́nu dúró díẹ̀ fún ẹ̀dẹ́nu dúró díẹ̀. À ń bọ̀ náà.
All right.
This is Star Radio UK. This is Star Radio UK.
Welcome.
The best radio show.
Ẹ̀gbọ́n sókè Bishop à ń gbádùn yín lọ bí òyìnbó ṣe ń gbádùn tíì lọ́sàn-án gangan pẹ̀lú croissant tó dá lẹ́nu.
So in a nutshell, to type sorry website at www.rbebanking.org. If you take you there, you will see welcome to Ruba ecosystem, CRB Bank. Then
okay, èmi ti type ẹ̀ báyìí mo dẹ̀ ń rí níwájú mi ẹ má bínú ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń wò wá ẹ lè rí tèmi wò.
Ẹ máa rí logo yẹn Ruba Shield, Reserve Bank of Yorùbá Nation. Ẹ máa rí logo Ruba nìyẹn. Then ẹ máa rí àwọn prices tó ń scroll lókè. Prices market.
Okay.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni. Now
eléyìí sọ pé ó ní US 100 135.6.1.0 ó ń lọ sókè ń lọlẹ̀.
Prices yẹn price.
Ó ní EU and US 1.07517 Bitcoin 26226. Ẹ̀gbọ́n yín.
Now, later ẹ lè browse site wa kẹ́ study gbogbo everything, but straight to sign up ẹ máa rí ìlà tó kù tó mẹ́ta kan lókè lọ́wọ́ ọ̀tún. Ìlà ẹ ó máa gbé tí ó bá sí ìlà ń bẹ̀ látòrí fóònù ẹ máa rí
orí laptop orí kọ̀mpútà látọ̀ tí ń lò àti rí sign up and log in.
Ẹ tẹ sign up, ẹ máa tẹ sign up.
Okay.
Ẹ bá ti tẹ sign up.
Ó ní kíyàn create account.
Ó máa bèrè users name yín, users name tẹ fẹ́ máa lò, ẹ máa tàpẹ̀. Ó máa bèrè email.
Surname, phone number. Ó wá ń béèrè pé country wo. Yorùbá Nation máa wà níbẹ̀ lábẹ́ Yemen lóòótọ́.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni Yorùbá Nation yìí.
But àìtí ìgbà country so báwo ló ilé ṣe wá di pé Yorùbá Nation wọnú irú system báyìí ẹ má bínú ó lè jẹ́ ìbéèrè ọmọbọ.
Ìbéèrè Yorùbá Nation ó ti register under UNPO, so he's registered as a recognized.
Ṣé pé tí wọ́n register ní 2019 yẹn á tún padà wá wúlò ní 2023.
Ó ti wà ní Wikipedia, wọ́n ti dá yín mọ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ìbálẹ̀ ni.
Ẹni sùúrù ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ó fẹ́ rà kó fẹ́ lọ́kọ́lọ́kọ́lọ́ bí kọ̀lọ̀kọ̀lọ̀ ẹ̀mọ̀ pé kòlókòló kẹrin ó máa ń wọnú lẹ̀ lọ ni tó bá tètè mú. Intention nísìn ni pé tí bàbá dáadáa Emeritus Adébánjí Akíntóyè pé láwọn ọ̀jọ̀gbọ́n kan náà torí pé nígbà tọrọ ránṣẹ́ ẹ̀mọ̀ pé lè nísìn ẹ̀yin tí ń ṣe lábẹ́lẹ̀ tábá ní wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ lábẹ́lẹ̀ àwọn kan ní abẹ́lẹ̀ wo abẹ́lẹ̀ àjálẹ̀ ni torí pé àmọ́ tó ń lọ. Once again, this is still Star Radio UK where we are discussing the right to the Yoruba people under the United Nations, under the African Union. So do not get lost. I will be doing a bit of the summary of the conversation towards the end of the program. So intense ṣàlàyé fún wa nísìn ni pé mo click ilé èmi ò rò pé ẹ kí n rí Yorùbá Nation mo wá rí Yorùbá Nation ẹ wá ń sọ pé tí Yorùbá Nation fi yọ ni pé bàbá Emeritus Professor Adébánjí Akíntóyè pẹ̀lú àwọn tí wọ́n jọ jókòó níjọ́ náà lọ́hùn tí gbogbo wa fi rí pé wọ́n rẹ́gísítà wá sábẹ́ UNPO ìwọ tó bá mọ tó ń pè ní UNPO jẹ́ sáré ṣàlàyé fún ẹ kí bàbá Bishop wa bá mi ṣàlàyé ìdí tí UNPO fi ní líǹkì pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ eléyìí tí wọ́n ń sọ̀rọ̀. UNPO as at August 3rd, 2020 on their website, also known as the Unrepresented Nation and People. So wọ́n mọ̀ pé nation ni wá ọ̀dà kí ló tún sọ síbẹ̀ wọ́n ní the Yoruba people numbered over 44 million, making them the largest homogeneous people in Africa. The majority of this population, around 40 million, is located in Nigeria. Baba Bishop. So in Tefin Yewa nísìnyí pé link UNPO yìí.
You are you are a recognized, yes, you are a recognized nation. Kò ìgbà ìlú ni ọ̀hìn fún yín láṣẹ as a country. So ó ní àwọn.
Ẹ má ti lọ púpọ̀, ẹ má ti lọ púpọ̀. Ẹni sùúrù bishop, ṣé pé bàbá yẹn ní làákàyè torí àwọn kan ní bàbá yẹn ọmọ tó ń ṣe. Eléyìí ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀rín bishop, ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń dùn àwa báyìí ni. So n tẹ́ ń sọ fún wa lálẹ́ lórí ètò.
This is Star Radio UK.
Òun ni pé bàbá Akíntóyè rẹ́gísítà tó rẹ́gísítà yẹn èyí náà ti ń mú lò kò ń ṣẹ̀yìn lẹ́ ń lò àmọ́ ọmọ Yorùbá ti ń mú lò ṣé pé àwọn kan mìíràn tún lè jẹyọ lórí ẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni kò ń ṣe wípé àwa táìpù ẹ̀ síbẹ̀ ẹ rí pé gbogbo òlú ló gbé jáde.
Ẹ̀hún náà mo rí pé ìgbà tí mo click lé lórí ìlú pọ̀ lábẹ́. Ẹni sùúrù bàbá ẹni sùúrù bishop yẹ kájọ máa ṣe díẹ̀ kódà mo rí UK níbẹ̀ UK náà wà lábẹ́ mo tún wá rí ìlú kan tó ń pè ní Western Sahara àmọ́ fáwọn náà wọ́n ń ṣètò lọ 20% nìkan ló sì gbà nínú territory wọn àmọ́ àwọn tẹ̀tí ń operate lọ ẹgbọ́n sókè bishop à ń gbádùn yín.
Gbogbo àwọn ìlú bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ni wọ́n ti fò tẹ̀tẹ̀ pé àwọn ìlú tó máa dá dúró rèé so àwọn díẹ̀díẹ̀ nínú wọn lè má ìbalẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n ti recognize wọn.
Ìyàn kan béèrè pé ṣé Àrúbà ni Ọ̀rúbà ẹni sùúrù wọ́n ní ṣé Àrúbà ni àbí Rúbà a lè ti ń ṣe àlíǹkẹ́ síta.
Kì í ṣàrúbà.
Ẹ mọ̀ pé nǹkan tuntun ni so a gbọ́dọ̀ ṣàlàyé fáwọn èèyàn wa ẹni tó ń béèrè yẹn bóyá tó gbọ́ ní Àrúbà ó lè má gbọ́ Rúbà yẹn.
Kó lọ sí website.
But àti share link yẹn síta link yẹn ti wà àti share link yẹn síta. Wọ́n ní kò ń ṣe Àrúbà o ẹ má lọ sí Àrúbà o Rúbà lápé o kò má ní ògbọ́n ta sọ níbí báyìí o.
Tẹ́ bá ti mú country nísàlẹ̀ ó máa ní RBE users ìyẹn ni kẹ́ mú ẹ má mú partner. Àwọn partner yẹn wà fún àwọn company báwọn náà fẹ́ ní báńkì títí wọn so ibẹ̀ yẹn la máa ń lò lórí API so network máa link gbogbo site wa together so ìyẹn fún àwọn other banks but ìwọ́n tó kàn fẹ́ lò àkáǹtì lásán users ló máa lò RBE users then ọmọ wa kíkì white box yẹn tó ní terms and conditions agree láti click white box yẹn ó máa gbé bọ́tìn jáde fún yín nísàlẹ̀ ẹ click submit register ó máa gbé wọnú dashboard àkáǹtì yín ẹ ti open àkáǹtì yẹn. Now ẹ ti open àkáǹtì yẹn ẹ ní iṣẹ́ mẹ́ta láti ṣe. First is that tẹ́ bá wò ẹ máa rí username yín ẹ máa rí balance yín $0 ẹ máa rí wallet address yín wallet address yẹn ó fẹ́ dàbí account number.
Ìyá wa kan ní àwọn ti get already o ìyá wa kan ní I have got it as well great job. Wọ́n ní Babangida started destroying the naira with his second tie in 1986/1987. Ẹ ṣé gan ni ìyá wa Comfort Ológunjà ẹgbọ́n sókè Bishop.
So nígbà tẹ́ ti register tẹ́ ti wọlé yẹn tẹ̀lẹ̀ ti rí wallet address yín account balance yín àti tẹ́ bá sún sísàlẹ̀ rí gbogbo àwọn network yẹn rí gbogbo àwọn owó yẹn Bitcoin Rúbà náà wà ńbẹ̀ ẹ máa ti rí shield ẹ ti máa rí value owó oníkálukú ẹ ti máa rí value ẹ àwọn Bitcoin wà ńbẹ̀ USDT BUSD gbogbo ẹ wà ńsàlẹ̀ but ẹ padà sókè òkè tẹ́ wá wà ẹ máa rí àwọn bọ́tìn kéékèèké kan ẹ máa rí FSSC portal KYC portal all transaction ẹ máa rí resend verification ṣe ti rí wọn.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Now ẹ máa tẹ resend verification yẹn ẹ tẹ. Tẹ bá ti tẹ resend verification yẹn ó máa send the message orí email yín. So ẹ gbé site yẹn down ẹ lọ sórí email yín.
Láti lọ confirm ẹ.
Láti ó máa send message síbẹ̀. Now tẹ́ ẹ bá rí message nínú inbox ẹ check spam box. But the message is in your inbox. Tẹ́ bá dẹ̀ ti rí RBE message ẹ tẹ verify mail. Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ti tẹ verify mail, ó máa gbé yín padà lọ sí sáìtì wa. Ẹ wá tẹ users name yín tàbí email yín, ẹ tẹ password yín, àgbéyìn wọlé, àkáǹtì yín ti wà verified. It shows your account is secured. It's secured. Nobody can break it. Your account is secure. That is step 1. Step 2, only ẹ wá ṣe KYC. Ẹ tún padà lọ sókè yẹn, ẹ máa rí KYC portal. Ẹ tún tẹ KYC yẹn, á gbé yín lọ sí ibi tó ti máa bèrè wípé kẹtẹ nọ́mbà ID card tó bá jẹ́ driver's license ni, tó bá jẹ́ BVN ni, passport number ni, ẹ tẹ̀ síbi àlàfo nọ́mbà yẹn. Now, ó máa ní ID type. Ẹ wá choose type. Ṣé driver license lẹ fi nọ́mbà ẹ̀ síbẹ̀? Ẹ tẹ̀ driver. Tó bá jẹ́ passport ẹ tẹ̀. Tó bá jẹ́ BVN ẹ tẹ̀. Tó bá jẹ́ NIN ẹ tẹ̀. Ẹ wá choose country wo ló fún yín ní ID number yẹn àti ID type yẹn. Ẹ choose ẹ̀. Tó bá jẹ́ Nigeria fine ẹ choose ẹ̀. Then ẹ submit. Tẹ́ bá ti submit, don't worry, within 1 minute, your KYC will be confirmed. Your account is open for unlimited transaction. That's all. So, yeah, at that time, you can now fund your account. Ẹ lè gbé crypto wọlé síbẹ̀. Tẹ́ bá wo ìsàlẹ̀, tẹ́ bá zoom lọ sí ìsàlẹ̀. Ẹ máa rí transfer. Ẹ máa rí deposit. Ẹ máa rí convert. Ẹ máa rí investment àpò. So àwọn investment yẹn àti ìfẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀.
Ó yé mi.
The purpose tí bàbá ní ká máa tẹnu mọ́ nísìnyí orí káwọn èèyàn kan save owó wọn, because dùgbẹ̀dùgbẹ̀ tó ń mì lókè ní Nàìjíríà kó má bàa fọ́ lé owó wọn nínú bank, kan save owó náà. Tọ́kàn bá ti balẹ̀ létà, ẹ máa ṣe investment. A máa wò bóyá oṣù mẹ́ta iye tó máa balẹ̀ à ń kò nìyẹn. So for now, save ni. So ẹ máa rí transfer, ẹ máa rí deposit. Ẹ bá fẹ́ deposit, ẹ tẹ deposit. Ẹ bá tẹ deposit yẹn. Hello?
I'm going here, go ahead.
Deposit yẹn.
Yeah.
Ẹ máa rí amount àgbéjáde, amount ìwò. Ó máa kọ́kọ́ béèrè pé owó wo lẹ fẹ́ deposit. Ṣé USDT, BUSD, àwọn crypto yẹn ẹ choose ẹ fẹ́ deposit. Amount ẹ choose amount ẹ fẹ́ deposit. Then ó máa béèrè ẹni tó fẹ́ send owó yẹn sí wallet ẹ type ẹ̀ síbẹ̀. Tẹ́ bá ti type ẹ̀ síbẹ̀, tẹ́ bá ti choose owó gbọ̀ngàn tẹ́ fẹ́ gbé wọlé yẹn, ó máa gbé network owó yẹn máa lò máa gbé jáde.
Ìta máa ṣe ni pé torí àsìkò wa ó ti fẹ́ lọ báyìí, a máa láti gbé part 2 ibi tá a máa gbé wá pẹ̀lú àwọn tí àwọn èèyàn lè láǹfààní àti lè. Yes.
Àti mọ̀ in a nutshell, èyí tí mo mọ̀ tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa tí wọ́n mọ̀ nípa crypto, àwọn tó mọ̀ nípa crypto gbogbo explanation yìí wọn mo kò ní ìdí àwọn tí mọ́mọ́ ẹ̀ máa ń ṣe. But èyí tọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ nílò òun ni P2P yẹn, nítorí àwọn ò lè lo crypto. Kọ́kọ́ pé nọ́mbà mi àbí kán lọ sí P2P yẹn wọ́n á ráwọn nọ́mbà àwọn èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ kán pè wọ́n. Àwọn yẹn náà máa sẹ́ndì náírà sí àbí sẹ́fà àbí nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, àbí kán káwọn lo burúkú change kan fi sẹ́yìn, àbí kán lo owó wọn tó wà náà tán. Àwọn èèyàn wá wà ní àsọ̀rọ̀ tán látà Nàìjíríà, wọ́n lè fi sẹ́ndì owó sí náírà yẹn, wọ́n á kàn bá wọn convert ẹ̀ sí Uber sínú àkáǹtì wọn. Àwọn kan máa sẹ́ndì users name wọn tó fi open àkáǹtì wọn àbí wallet address wọn, wọ́n credit ẹ̀ fún wọn. Then wọ́n lè gbowó like that too padà. So that is what ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn wa tí wọ́n mọ̀ nípa crypto P2P yẹn náà ń lò, which is okay. Bàbá ní ká jẹ́ kó easy fáwọn èèyàn láti lò. So that.
Ẹ ṣé gan ni. Thank you so much. That is how far we're going to go with Bishop, but be rest assured that there will be more conversation on our sister broadcast, later on, maybe tomorrow or the day after. Ẹ ṣé gan ni, alàgbà Bishop. Kẹ́tọ́ máa lọ, ẹ bá wa kí gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa tó ń gbọ́ wa ní gbogbo àgbáyé.
Wow, mo kí gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa o àti àwọn èèyàn tí ń ṣe Yorùbá, gbogbo ni wọ́n kún rúbà òtán fowó pamọ́ síbẹ̀ tán dẹ̀ tún gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ lò. it's flowing and it's transacting. Naira Oshubu now lẹ́ẹ̀mẹrin sí Ruba. So Ruba ti appreciate 10,000 to 1 Ruba ní tẹ́lẹ̀, but tó bá máa di June ló máa di 14,000 to 1 Ruba. So àwọn èèyàn wa tó ti ní Ruba owó wọn máa appreciate. So ìwọ tí o ṣì wà lábẹ́ àkóso Nàìjíríà bí owó ẹ̀ sí abẹ́ Ruba, ìyẹn gbọ́ngàn la máa fi mọ̀ fọ́mọ Yorùbá ni ẹ́. Then tó bá ti open account tó ti fowó síbẹ̀ lọ ṣe FSSC ó wà níbẹ̀, ó dàbí social security number ni. Tó bá ti tẹ FSSC yẹn wàá fi date of birth ẹ síbẹ̀, wàá fi picture ẹ síbẹ̀, wàá fi state tó ti wá síbẹ̀, ó máa generate code fún ẹ. Keep that code because Yorùbá máa bèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ in future. If you don't have identity like that, wọ́n á ní kẹ́ padà lọ bá àwọn kábíyèsí ìlú yìí kẹ́ lọ gba letter of identity. Continue my sharing. So now is the time that you can claim Yoruba. Yeah.
Thank you so
very much.
Well, that is a very important conversation with Bishop Adesina there, as he was taking us through the journey of the Ruba. This is going to be a continuous conversation, especially for those of us that do not have any reason that Nigeria is going to work. For those of you that believe in Nigeria, I'm sure some of you are also thinking of where you can, save and keep your money. Well, one thing is the Ruba, which is going to be the next game changer in the Yoruba Nation conversation. There is no way Tamani Afekuro nínú Nigeria. We must prepare for the eventualities. We must prepare for as many things that will fall apart. Whether it's going to happen tomorrow, whether it's going to happen today, whether it's going to happen in the next few months, next year, whenever the country that we are asking for, which is our fundamental right under the United Nations, rules, under the African Union, and likewise under the the European Union, the Yoruba people will not be left, where you will lose whatever you earn, whether it is your 1,000 naira. I see a woman that was crying. I think it's Access Bank. She lost 3 million naira. She doesn't have a bank card. All she does is she goes into the bank and withdraw the money. The question is, báwo lówó yẹn ṣe kúrò lákàntẹ̀? So for those of you that are saying, nah, it's okay. But just pray that you are not that same woman that the bank, maybe now that the situation has come onto the social media, 3 million in Nigeria is a lot of money, especially for those of you that are not even working, or those of you that are earning little or not. And this is why we must prepare our mind. Nigeria has failed woefully. Nigeria is not going to work. And if anybody is thinking Nigeria is going to work, it's a waste of time. Hello. Ashwalo program. What we will say is to our listeners, I know it's a lot to take in one day. It's a gradual process. For those that are saying that maybe this is not going to work, let me remind you that I've seen so many virtual banking operating in UK. We are already sending money into Nigeria on a daily basis. Some of those money, we don't even know how the money gets to Nigeria. All we know is we just, calling. Western Union doesn't come to Nigeria anymore because, Nigeria has actually been ruled out. So if you're sending money, you can only send Western Union to Nigeria. But a lot of us are using other different platforms that we don't have to mention. And these platforms, we don't even know who are those behind it. But we believe in it and we trust it. So if we are going to believe in ourselves, then we must believe in what will belong to us in the long run. There will definitely be, inquiries, people wants to find out, the legitimate of all these and all that. There's nothing wrong in that. But one thing is, àkọ́kọ́ gbọ́dọ̀ ní ìgbàgbọ́. Torí pé tá a bá ti ní ìgbàgbọ́ sí, then forget it. You might as well not worry yourself about the right to self-determination. You might as well just continue with Nigeria. But fún àwa tí a ti ní ìgbàgbọ́ sí pé Yorùbá country ta fẹ́ yẹn kó máa wá sí ìmúṣẹ. Ìyá wa kan ní àǹfààní àti bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ an hour before I was preparing to get into the studio. Wọ́n travel ọ̀lú kan tí mo fi sọ. Wọ́n nígbà táwọn délùú yẹn, àwọn wá ń wo the country and àwọn wá ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ ara wọn pé how did we not think that the Yoruba, this is not in UK, she didn't travel to UK, but I won't mention the name of the country because that is not for public consumption. But ìlú tó lọ yẹn kò tó state kan nílẹ̀ Yorùbá, and hotel tó dé sí oúnjẹ tó ń jẹ kò cheap. But the question is, are you thinking ìwọ ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń gbọ́ mi lálẹ́ ó rò pé bó ṣe jẹ́ àfáà sọ pé kò má ṣiṣẹ́ ni Islam ní kò má ṣiṣẹ́ náà. Ìwọ tó jẹ́ Kristẹni, ṣé Kristẹni ní kò má ṣiṣẹ́? Ìwọ tó jẹ́ oníṣẹ̀ṣe, ṣé wọ́n sọ pé kò má ṣiṣẹ́? Just type in the website directly by going into it, which is Ruba. Can you link here again? I posted it earlier. Just click on it. I clicked on it. It opens, or you just go to rbebanking.org. Romeo Bravo Echo Banking.org. And you don't have to click the link if it's not opening from the YouTube or the other platform. We are just about 7 minutes before the end of the program this evening. We will finish it back again with Nigeria. The 8 years of Buhari has dealt with some of us. I don't want to use you because we have been dealt with as well. Some of us invested a little bit into the Nigerian economy with the hope that we are always told, Nigeria is a big number. When you invest 10,000 naira, you can make 50,000 naira. Eventually, we didn't lose our life like one of our brother that had an hotel and a farm in Nigeria. He was killed by the Fulani terrorists. I'll be doing that on the status later on. And some of us today might not even understand what it means to have a secured society. When you understand that, you will know that Nigeria is not secured. And going back to the final part of the Buhari, last week, with the end in sight, we thought we saw it all. President Muhammadu Buhari is still pleading with the lawmakers to hurriedly approve an 640 million pounds or $800 million loan from the World Bank. I mean, this is a man that has failed Nigeria for 8 years. He's now looking to another $800 million. What is he going to use it for? I don't get it. Nigeria public debt could pass $150 billion this year. Gbèsè tí Nigeria jẹ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ ó máa surpass $150 billion. His borrowing spree has drawn warnings from the World Bank that Africa's largest economy was using 96% of his revenue to service debt. Ṣé òun gbọ́n tí mò ń sọ ṣá? Ṣé Yorùbá yẹn ṣó ń yí ẹ dáadáa? Torí pé èmi ti kúrò nílé tipẹ́, àmọ́ mo ṣì ń gbìyànjú pé kí Yorùbá tí mò ń sọ kó lè wọnú etí ẹ. I mean, World Bank ń sọ pé Nigeria is servicing debt with about 96%. So ó kọ̀ kù 4% kó pé full 100%. But the huge debt has been defended by the administration of Buhari, who says it is within acceptable limit, pointing to cash payment to poor people. Ìwọ tó ń gbọ́ mi lálẹ́ yìí, ṣé ìwọ náà ń gbà nínú owó tí Buhari ń gbà yìí tó sọ pé àwọn mẹ̀kúnnù làwọn fún? Àwọn wo ni mẹ̀kúnnù tán fún? sáwọn mẹ̀kúnnù tó wà ní north part of Nigeria àbí mẹ̀kúnnù tó wà ní south west ìwọ ni kó máa sọ yẹn ní ọkàn rẹ torí pé owó tí Buhari ń gbà yìí ó náà mẹ̀kúnnù lòun fi ń tọ́jú ìwọ náà bá ń kọ́ síbẹ̀ ṣé mẹ̀kúnnù ló fi ń tọ́jú ìdí tá a ṣe ń sọ fẹ́yìn tí à ń sọ pé Nigeria is at the verge of breakup. And this is how far I can go tonight. Thank you so much. Before we hand over back to the studio engineer to complete the mission tonight, join me every Wednesday. I've been running this program now. It's going to come up to about 6 years. It's been a long years, even before the Yoruba Nation started. We have been here, doing our best with the economy. I mean, I say economy with the, the society, the environment. But one thing is, if you do not know, maybe we should listen to this before we go.
Where is the president from? Fulani. Chief of staff, Fulani. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Fulani. Senate President of Nigeria is standing for us is Fulani. Deputy Speaker is Fulani. The Army Chief of Staff is Fulani. Navy Chief of Fulani. Police IG Fulani. DSS is Fulani. National Intelligence Agency Fulani. National Security Advisors and why do you hate Igbo people? I want to prove to all the Fulani that the hatred today was not about Fulani. Is it very clear to you now? Is it very clear? Listen to the minister. Minister of Defense, Fulani. Minister of Finance, Fulani. Somebody that studied the Sharia law is the head of the judicial system. Fulani. Is it very clear to you now? This is what I'm talking about. Fulani, agriculture, Fulani, police affairs, Fulani, aviation of Fulani, communication of Fulani, power, Fulani, water resources, Fulani, everything is Fulani. All the 19 northern governors are Fulani except the Benue Plateau. Every northern airfield apart from 4, the rest are all Fulani. Is it very clear to you now?
This is Star Radio.
From the word go, their game plan is to dominate house.
As we're saying, just about a minute more now, we hope now that Buhari leaves and maybe Tinubu will balance the post and the portfolio so that we don't have the domination of Yoruba as well. As I'm going to be leaving you, there's a lot of message coming tomorrow. I believe that, we've been told that Adeyinka grandson will be returning again to the courts tomorrow. We will be monitoring that. We'll be following that. So tomorrow at Sodok, court here in London, Adeyinka grandson will be returning again to court. We pray that things get resolved with him. And on that final note, I say thank you so much for being part of the program tonight. And I'll be leaving you with this, as I say, Udaro. Well, Abdullahi Omobolaji, thank you so much. Comrade Plan B, Ashiri Koko Iledumari, our grandmother, Sarah Oilowo, my beautiful auntie, Bimileke, my mother, Olakunle, and the rest of you. I say shout out, and this is how we end the program tonight. As I say, this is Star Radio UK, the finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. Buhari, you've done so much. Humanity will never forgive you.
Yoruba
Thank you so much, everyone. It's been Wednesday is always a long day, but we give thanks. We give thanks to Eledumare that makes it happen. We couldn't have done it without you all, so we appreciate every single one of you. Now it's time for cheers. Ẹ má dààmú Fúlàní tó ń yọ yín lẹ́nu lórí bẹ̀yẹn o. Àti láwọn Fúlàní tó wà pẹ̀lú wa tó pọ̀ gan. Ẹ ní freedom. Àtúnika gbàrà wá sílẹ̀ fún yín ká ní freedom. Òun complain. Ẹ̀yin yọ mí. Aago mẹ́jọ àbọ̀. Thank you so much, everyone on the Instagram. We couldn't mention all your name. Thank you, Mr. Ola Fearless. I love that name. Yawayeti Ekigoni. Thank you so much. And this is how far I can go. Yes, sir. Thank you. So catch up. Yeah, I'm listening. Okay, yeah. Call him now. Yeah. All right then. Cool. Thanks. All right, we gotta go now. It's been a long day. Nigeria show. Nigeria to take cool. All right, then. Later, everybody. Let's start closing. Thank you, Mr. Michael. Ìlú tó wà tó ní freedom tọ́lọ́pàá nù ẹ̀. Ó tó bẹ́ẹ̀ ní tí mò ń sọ ní UK tó bá sọ dájì ẹ̀ pẹ́rẹ́ ọlọ́pàá máa gbé ẹni tó bá sọ tí mò ń sọ ní bíbá ọlọ́pàá máa pìkẹ́ kó tó kúrò DSS ló máa dúró síwájú ilé ẹ̀ níwájú station. Àdé Nàìjíríà kì í ṣe ìlú mo kí yíyá rẹ̀ jẹ́ ká máa lọ́lé èyí tí mo ṣe tó Adé máa ṣe tó kù lójú títì tàbá tún lọ. Thank you so much. Bye for now, everybody. Yep.